Hey, y'all. Hey. Hey, Sam. Hey, Bethy Cakes. Hey, Anaphylaxis. Hey, Christine G. That's me. Hey,
That's
Nonstop
me.
Mom. Molson Man. Vincent's Missing Ear. Kez Chick. Hi, 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 hi. I feel like I've been on YouTube all day.
You've had a long day.
I've had a very long day. I feel like I've been on YouTube all day.
You've been pulling a triple.
I'm tired of my own voice. I'm done hearing me. but we're caught up.
Good thing that we're about to go into the biggest talker of all time.
Yeah, but she says so much throwed off shit. I'm gonna have to talk.
Have you listened? Are you still virgin ears to the parole hearings?
Girl, no. I listened to him a long time ago.
Listen,
I've been fascinated with. Okay, look. Here's the deal. Before I ever had a girl crush on Jessica Lange, my real first girl crush ever that I remember was Farrah Fawcett, because my uncle Richard had a that picture of her in the red swimsuit in his, and I thought she was so pretty, and I thought she had such great hair. And I remember when Small Sacrifices came out.
Oh.
And I remember when she was, and I also liked Duran Duran, and my cousins, they're like, Jen, I was young, like 9 or 10 maybe. And I went to California to see them. They lived in La Jolla, and I went out there to see them. And I thought they were teenagers. They were like 13 and 14. And I thought I was so cool because they were inviting me into their room. And they're like, you like music? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, listen to this. And they put on Duran Duran. And I was like, oh, loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Because, see, at my Aunt Francie's house, she was like strict, but not like aware. So, yeah. So like we could watch MTV and stuff like that. And that's where it started for me was, my cousins showing me different. I mean, like my very first tape I ever bought was Michael Jackson's Thriller. I just loved his music when I was young. And
I had Janet Jackson's, the one that's black on, it's like a black
cover. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was just enthralled by his dancing and his music. I just loved it.
Uh-huh.
So music was huge for me, and I remember watching like MTV and watching like NWA come on and the stuff they were rapping, and I was like just mesmerized by all of it. When I was younger, what I really wanted to be when I grew up was the person that, not the score, that's different because I can't write music, but I wanted to be the person that picked out the songs,
Hmm.
the soundtrack for the different times in the movie, that
The score.
it's not really
Yes.
the score because the score is you write the music. I
Oh.
wanted to pick out like, okay, so like for Footloose, obviously Kenny Loggins' song Footloose, and when
Uh-huh.
that would come in. And, like Berlin, Take My Breath Away, stuff like that. That's what I wanted to do, the soundtrack.
Yeah. I
That's
agree.
what
That
I
part is
wanted to
like the
do.
music and the is what like brings the feels like for even for like the silly videos I do, like I love it.
Yeah, and the thing is that that's why I was excited about doing YouTube because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to make videos. And then I realized how YouTube rolls.
Oh
And
yeah.
so
Yeah.
any of the songs that I wanted to use, I
Don't use
couldn't.
any of the good ones.
Right. Like I couldn't. I mean, okay, so when I did the episode on Damien Eccles,
Hmm.
right? There are other songs, I suppose, that were available through the YouTube studio, and I didn't have Epidemic Sound at the time.
Hmm.
But the song that I felt like encapsulated everything that I was trying to convey is My Chemical Romance Teenagers.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't care. I made an artistic choice and said, "Fuck it, copyright claim me, I'm using it," and I did,
Hmm.
because it fit. But
Yeah.
then I got Epidemic Sound, and now, which is saying, and they're way better. It's actual music, unlike, I mean, YouTube Studio is actual sort of actual music, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
If anybody that's listening, you don't everybody has a channel. So you all have access to Studio. Even if you don't put content on your channel, you have access to YouTube Studio. So go in your YouTube Studio and go to the audio library. All right. And tool around a little bit, right? Then go over to Epidemic Sound and just, I mean, you don't have to do it. You don't have to download anything. They'll let you like listen to music for, their choices, whatever, to pick out songs and whatnot. You can just sample, and there's a huge difference. So anyway, that's my story. Now I got to find this dadgum parole hearing that I was supposed to be doing this whole time while we were saying hi to everybody, but I got distracted.
So sorry in advance, everybody. I'm like on the tail end of that cough. I was sick a few weeks ago, and I just sound like a duck right now. It's
Honking
really
dunk.
dry. Yeah, it's really dry, but it's lingering. I'm fine. Thank you. I'm sorry if I cough.
Oh, I'm glad you're feeling better though.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it was bad for a while. It was like
It
really,
was
really,
bad.
it was thick in my chest. I was like in the bathroom with the steam and stuff. So it's much better now. I just sound like a duck every once in a while.
I don't think you sound like a duck, but let me just say this. Um, I I was worried about you, and I knew you were super sick
Hmm.
because you were so quiet.
There
And we had been
was
talking,
the
and
fear
then,
that I was, if I laughed too much or something, I would start
well,
honking
no,
all over.
like I meant like during, like when we were chatting on Messenger. Like
Oh,
we would, you were just quiet that whole day, and I kept thinking, oh, I hope she's okay. And then you told me, and then everything was like, okay, I figured it out. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
BR, this star will be gardening.
Oh, she's gardening.
AK at the pub. I can't
our
even.
our big chat with our friends is called Garden Club.
Ah, I'm not in that chat. I guess I'm not their friends.
You know what? I
It
don't know why you're not. You should
You
be
don't have
fit
to
right
add
in.
me. It's fine. You don't have to add me. I'm fine. It's fine. I just like to give people a rash of shit.
Teresa, get in here.
Where is Tracy? Tracy, you need to answer for this
We have.
insult immediately. Mm. Okay. So the audio that I found is an actual video, and there are like pictures and stuff like that. So you guys will have a visual. It won't just be audio.
There's 2 parole hearings that are like online, whether watch or listen to, right? I think there's like, because one of them she's in the, there is a video of it. She's old and she's in her hair is short.
So this is the one from 2020.
So this is the more recent one.
Yeah, and
Okay.
this is what it reads. Parole board recording of the hearing conducted on September 23rd, 2020 via Skype between the Central California Women's Facility in Chowchilla, California. That doesn't sound right. Is it Chowchilla or is it Chowchilla?
Chowchilla, yeah.
Okay, Chowchilla, California, and the Administrative Office of the Board of Parole in Salem, Oregon, in the matter of Elizabeth Diane Downs.
Yeah.
So
She
that's
references a few times like the previous one. And there
oh,
is a previous one, but I
is
mean,
it online?
yeah, it's online, but
Should we play that one or should we do
no,
2020?
it's just as much of a wreck.
Oh, okay, because the 2020 is the one I've heard.
No, yeah, and so the one I was watching is like we're listening to is broken up into 3 parts. I literally
That's this one.
It's
Yeah,
like
that's
Harry Potter. Like the second part is called Fantastical Stories.
OMG.
And
Okay,
it's just,
go ahead. I'm listening. I'm putting
it
my.
really is like that.
I have
Like
to check it
Diane
out.
Downs and the Fantastic Beasts.
All right, hang on just a second because Amelia alerted me today that the PayPal link that I have for at Nightbot isn't working. Why does this error? Why is that an error? That is ridiculous.
You have a Nightbot? That's cool.
Yeah, I've got to fix it. I'll fix it later. If you guys want my PayPal, just ask me and I'll give it to you. I'll give you the link if you need it. I'm no pressure. I don't care if I'm grateful if you do, but it's not a requirement. I'm not like that. Also, I need to pay attention to what I am doing because I need to put share screen first.
We're giving you all the credit right now. This is number 3 today.
It's a lot. This is the most I've been live in like a long time. But this is kind of this is really representative of my entire personality. I'm pretty much all or nothing. That's an Aquarius thing, I think. Okay, let me turn the closed captions on. Okay. Let me turn up the quality just a 480 is good.
If you're triggered by a dumb, here's your trigger warning.
Right. Listen. This is Diane Downs. She is a lying liar face who tells lies. She makes up things on the fly, and her answer, her second answer will contradict the first answer. So never fear. That's that's Diane Downs. Okay, here we go and play. Let me speed this up just a little bit. Oh, and let me.
All right, I'm chairperson of the Oregon Parole Board. My name is Michael Shu, and we are ready to get started, okay? Just to start, let me make sure, are you Elizabeth Diane Downs?
I don't know. Maybe. Do you want me to be? Okay. Hey, Jeanette. So here is a link to the channel that this is on. There's that. All right. Now we can go. Okay.
Yes, I am.
Do you know if your Oregon SID number is 6546106?
Yes.
Okay. And did you receive the board's packet and notice of rights at least 14 days ago?
Yes, I did.
Thank you. Once again, I'm board chairperson Michael Shu. I would also like to introduce the other board members who are present at your hearing today. We have on the panel today board member Patty Kress.
Good morning.
Board member James Taylor.
Good morning.
Board member Greta Lowry.
Good morning, everyone.
And also board member John Bailey.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd also like to introduce our visitors today. We have joining you, I don't think you can see them, but they are listening in to this call currently. We have from the Lane County District Attorney's Office, Deputy District Attorney Joanne Miller. I believe your brother, James Fredrickson, is also attending via the phone. Desiree Fredrickson.
I'm here.
Thank you. Desiree Fredrickson, niece of you, is also on the phone. We have Ann Yeager, who is an interested party, and Doug Welch, also an interested party, listening in via the phone. It's my understanding that we also have other members of the public listening in as well. I don't know who all of those members of the public are, but I'm told that it's about 20 people who are listening in. Okay?
Okay.
I also want to make sure that before we begin,
22
I cover
with
all the
Jen Lo
materials
and
that you have
Christine
submitted
G.
to the board.
Haha.
I have materials received
41.
from you
For
You
40.
know
or
what?
your brother.
You know why I'm
They
sad
are
about not being
dated
able to see their faces is
August
because in
24th,
some moments
September
it's like
1st, September 8th,
I
September
would love to
14th.
see their
Those are all the
faces.
dates the board
Yes.
received those materials, and we have reviewed them.
Yes.
Look what
We also
she
have an email
answers.
from your brother dated September 18th, 2020, and letters of support
That's
from
right.
James Fredrickson.
Vincent's missing here.
um,
The other
and
public.
Desiree.
That's us. The
We
ward
also
is
have
listening.
in the materials a letter of opposition to parole and a request for extended deferral for Elizabeth Diane Downs from the Lane County District Attorney's Office.
I wonder if we could FOIA
and
request
they
that
attached
letter
the
she wrote.
transcript of your
Of course we
2010
could.
hearing.
I'd love to
Is that
see
your
it.
understanding, Ms. Downs, of all the
course we
information
could.
that you submitted, as well as information that other parties have submitted?
Can you hold
Yes.
it down, Christine? I'm
All
going
right,
to go
thank
have
you.
a cig. I need one. It's
I
been
just
a
want to
while.
start by
Absolutely.
Thank
telling
you.
you
I mean, I'll be
also
in
what
the
this
chat and
hearing
I'm
will be
still
about.
listening. I just can't talk.
This is time
Because it
for
rained, I
your
can't take the
parole
laptop
consideration
outside.
hearing.
Okay, I'll be right
It's a
back.
hearing to decide
All right.
whether the board finds that you are no longer dangerous or finds that you remain dangerous, but that you can't be adequately controlled with supervision and treatment, or finds that you are dangerous and will defer your parole consideration date further. We have received from the Department of Corrections an institutional report that is dated June 2nd, 2020, prepared by Counselor Kay Williams and reviewed and approved by the Director of the Oregon Department of Corrections, Colette Peters. Have you read that report?
Yes, I have.
Thank you. We also ordered and you participated in a
still
psychological
showed up.
evaluation for
Good for
today's
her.
hearing, prepared by Dr. Guyton, dated August 17th, 2020. Did you have a chance to read Dr. Guyton's report?
I agree,
Yes, I did.
anaphylaxis.
I also want to give you a roadmap of how this hearing will look like. We will take turns asking you questions, and I will be leading this hearing. We'll start by asking you about any programming that you've participated in, your work history. I do want to spend some time talking about your health. Then we'll talk in depth about the psychological report authored by Dr. Guyton. We'll spend some time talking about your past criminal conduct, and we'll end by talking about any plans you might have if you are released.
Past criminal conduct.
I also just want to warn everybody on the call, and also you as well, Ms. Downs, that because we are doing this through Skype, there are times where we will lose connection. If that's the case, typically we can establish a reconnection within a minute or so. So if we do lose connection, just be patient with us as we try to get you back on our screens. If we do lose connection, I will pause the hearing while the connection is lost, and then we'll just start back up where we left off before the connection got
You
destroyed.
know what I've
Okay?
noticed? Sometimes when they ask her a tough
Yes.
I don't know that
question,
it will, but I just want to warn
starts
everybody
using
that
the
that's what will
connection
happen
as
if we do get disrupted.
a reason to stall.
All right. So with that, I think the board will begin asking you some questions. All right. Are you ready?
All right.
All right. So let's start off by talking about your programming, if any, that you participated in the institution. So have there been programs down there in California that you've participated in?
Programs such as mental health programs, self-help programs, school
Yeah, all of
programs,
them,
all
bitch.
programs.
Yes,
Yeah,
those
why
ones.
don't we start with mental health if you've participated in any?
Okay. Mental health programs. I've been seen by Dr. Shoji, Dr. Rossi. I spent time when across the street, Dr. Rossi was a geriatric psych, and I lived in the elder dorm, and so we saw each other every day. She and I started a crochet program to help the elders. Learning a new skill is something that helps derail Alzheimer's, and so we started a crochet program to help the ladies learn a new skill. So she and I worked really closely hand in
like
hand.
she's not one of them.
I wouldn't say that it was necessarily psychiatric treatment, but she was a psych. She lived and breathed her craft. So everything that I said and did, she would say, so how did that make you feel? So kind of it was continual care.
I hate people like that.
They have something here called LTOP. It's kind of an organized, there are classes, criminal thinking, things like that. And so there are classes that you take for weeks. It's weeks long, and you go 2 or 3 times a week. And it's a federally funded program, as far as I know. They have real psychiatrists and psychologists and sociologists that come in and teach these classes. And we have groups of 12 inmates and the sponsor. And we work together. We ask each other questions. Trust me, an inmate's going to ask you questions that a real person isn't going to ask you. So it's a very in-depth program. And that's pretty much the extent of the psychiatric.
Okay, thank you. You mentioned that part of the class is to teach you about criminal thinking. Can you elaborate a little bit more about that?
Oh, yes. Criminal thinking is anything that deviates from the norm. For instance, sticking a biscuit in your bra before you leave the chow hall, thinking, because you're not supposed to take food out of the chow hall. And it might seem minor, but it made us aware that there are so many things we do on a daily basis. Parking in a handicapped parking spot when you're not handicapped, that's criminal thinking. And so it made us look deeper into ourselves.
She said that like it's no big deal. That's the biggest deal.
It's a big deal. It is a big deal
because
it sets a pattern for how you view bigger things in life. So that's criminal thinking actually makes you sit and think about every single thing that you do during the day. Is that appropriate? Is that socially acceptable?
Unacceptable around here in California. You don't park in disabled
might be
spots.
something that's really big to somebody else, and every little stone adds up to one big landslide. So.
Thank you. And any other types of programming that you've participated in?
I've taken like vocational classes.
Related to what types of vocation?
I've taken the computer class, hoping, because I know the world out there has changed a lot in 36 and 37.
Yeah, that's the last thing you need to do is be on the damn ass computer. Can you imagine if this lady got a hold of a YouTube channel? Oh, wait. I want to know what it says about you and your thinking. If you're, hey, allegedly with Brittany J, if you're not in a mess hall and you put biscuits in your bra.
I mean, okay, but Jen, do you agree that she just glossed right over that, like parking in a disabled spot, like she used to do that or something?
Well,
like,
yes, because here's the thing.
That's a big deal.
There's a difference between 5 miles over the speed limit and parking in a handicap space when you're not handicapped. Okay, that's extra evil, in my opinion. 5 miles over the speed limit. Yes. Okay. It's breaking the law, but taking a spot for a disabled person, but when you're able-bodied and can walk to the no, there's something wrong with you.
That's very taboo, like now in 2020, but like, and so like in 1980, was that such a big deal?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm just asking.
Yes, it was a dick move in 1980, and it was a dick move in 2020.
Okay, fine. Well, whatever.
7 years.
I'm just saying they didn't.
I took a computer class to try to understand computers better. I took an electronics class because it actually goes with the computer class. You're going to spend $500 to have a guy come out and replace a cable.
Somebody lied to you about that, Diane.
So I took the electronics class to go hand in hand with the computer class. After that, I took the carpentry class. Finished all these classes.
Great. So now you can make your own weapons and sell them on the internet. Perfect.
Skills training, which was
hey y'all, hey, and 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, she did all the terrible things.
Okay, so
anything else that we should be aware of that you've taken?
Yeah, that you've taken carpentry. So now, you can make your own weapons and sell them on eBay. Perfect. So this is Diane Downs, 5, 6, 7, 8. She stood trial in 1983. Was it?
Okay. 87 or something like that.
87. It happened May 19th or 9th. It happened in the 80s. Okay, it's the movie that Farrah Fawcett was in, Small Sacrifices. This is based on her. That was based on her story. She shot all three of her children, and one of them died. One of them is paralyzed. Her son was paralyzed, and she tried to claim that a carjacker basically is the one who assaulted her and her children, but she's the one that did it. She was the Susan Smith before Susan Smith was Susan Smith. Know what I mean? That's who
Hey,
Diane
Jen,
Downs was.
did you
Yeah,
see?
babe.
Did you see the news clip of her brother talking about the sketch? And honestly, the sketch looked like her brother too. I was just thinking, man, what if it wasn't her? It was her brother or
What
something?
if it
The whole
was?
family.
Hey, you know what happened today when I was making the thumbnail for the live tonight?
Oh,
And I
I
searched.
love the thumbnail too. I meant to say.
Oh, good. I'm glad you like it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Better?
Yes, I loved it.
Okay, good. So I was searching images of Diane Downs, and y'all know the internet never lets me down. And what do you think I see? A
What?
side-by-side comparison through the years of one Diane Downs and one Janelle from Teen
And-
Mom. From all the years. Yes. And y'all, they have the same damn eyebrows.
It's the chin.
It is. And there's something about
Regarding programming?
Well, in
both
plant
of their
operations,
eyes.
it's kind of a craft school. I mean,
You know what?
you learn to
Time
be a
out one more
plumber,
time.
electrician,
Okay.
I
a
swear,
painter.
guys. So I just want to say throughout this interview or this thing that she's doing, this meeting, the examples that she gives, like the car in the disabled spot is a strange example. She gives these weird, creepy almost examples of different situations. Like farther down the line, I don't know if it's in this one, she talks about like her dad being disabled and wouldn't it be a shame if somebody elder abused her dad to death and stuff. Weird things, like these weird things that no other people don't think like that. Like,
or if
her
they do
examples-
think like that, they don't say that shit out loud.
Yeah. And like she doesn't like it's that makes her like such a scary criminal, because her things that she thinks about are weird.
Right. And she thinks that they're normal. So she just be blurting them out like how, you know, how Christine and I have our little, and I do it with you guys in the chat, how we have our own little exchanges, right? Our conversations. That's how she is, but with weird shit.
Weird things she says.
Weird, off the wall things that make you go.
And I bet that they're just waiting for her parents to pass away before they let her out, because there's like something, I forget where I heard or read, but they're nervous because of her inclination or the likelihood of her hurting somebody that she's in a position of power with, like children, or like if she got out and was taking care of her parents. They're worried for her parents' safety. I swear to God. And if you want, like, it's obvious. Just you wait.
Just you wait. We're not even hardly into it yet.
And I spent probably 2 years in that. So I learned a lot of skills that I didn't know before, skills that I got pretty good at.
Okay.
Like shanking people.
What did you find most rewarding about the programming or classes that you've taken?
I got out of my cell. Oh, no. I
would say most rewarding. Well, it depends on which kind of rewarding. Emotionally rewarding, LTOP, because in that class there was no judgment. You could literally say, there's a lot of things that I'm not allowed to talk about in prison because I'm quote unquote Diane Downs. I can't talk about my children.
Hold on
I
a
can't
minute,
talk
ma'am.
about anything that.
Hold on. Stop you right there. Hold it. Okay. First of all, you're not quote unquote Diane Downs, ma'am. Okay. That's for somebody who wasn't born with the government name Diane Downs. Okay. You are literally Diane Downs. No quote unquote. I think what you mean is, to your mind, quote unquote, a violent fucking offender. I think that's what you mean.
She thinks she's famous. She thinks people are going to ask her for her autograph and shit.
I'm going to ask her to fix some eyebrows. Like, let them grow in a little, sis. They're way too thin. Okay.
emotional for
This
me.
ain't 1920s
Because I
and you
always
ain't a
have
flapper.
to maintain an image of strength. And at L-Top, there was no judgment. That was just one of the rules of the class. And so I was able to speak about things that I wasn't able to speak, that I can't speak about in general population. So emotionally, that was rewarding. I enjoy physical work. So Plant Ops was physically rewarding. I worked for IDL, inmate day labor. I was a ditch digger. I loved it. I can slam, I can literally put industrial strength pipe in the ground. That's what I learned.
I'm fascinated. Tell me more.
And I enjoyed that physically. I enjoy the labor. So I guess that's it. I guess those are the two things that I enjoy the most. Gardening is for the soul. I garden just as a hobby.
Daybell would hire you
in this prison. We have trees,
Yeah.
flowers, plants, shrubs.
He needs digging done.
Spiritually, I enjoy that.
Oh,
That's
thank
where
you,
get to
N5,
commune
6, 7, 8.
with the guy upstairs.
Thank you for joining membership.
And really
Welcome
search your
to
soul.
the
So spiritually, I enjoy
Soul
landscaping.
Club. Hey, Kate Does Crime. How you doing?
How long ago did you take L-Top?
Oh, thank you, allegedly, Brittany.
We're here in Oregon, so I'm not
Thank you,
familiar
Brittany.
with all
I'm
the
not going to
names
call you
of
by
the
your whole
programs down in
YouTube name.
California.
What
Yes.
shift happens? What's going on with your eyeballs?
I was in L-Top for close to a year.
How you doing?
Close to a year.
When was this?
2 years ago.
Does anybody else wonder what L-Top is? Because it doesn't, I
The
feel like
group has
I think
been
it means something that it doesn't mean.
It has something else, and I can't remember. They have another name for it now, and it's under a different program. I can't remember.
Is it? Okay.
But if you call anybody here, they'll know what L-Top is. In fact, the new program they have is called L-Top. It's sort of the same.
We don't know.
We don't know what L-Top is,
Got it.
Diane Downs. So why don't you,
All
quote
right,
unquote, Diane Downs?
I don't have any further questions for you about programming. Do the other board members have any questions? Let's start with
This
Ms. Grant.
woman, there's a woman that's not letting her bullshit slide.
Okay, good.
Ms. Downs, is there any program that you're currently at this time involved in?
Crocheting, we didn't talk about that. Those are volunteer programs. We're locked down right now. COVID's real, and COVID. See my little mask here, and we're pretty much locked down most of the time. And so I'm still able to crochet. I'm still able to landscape.
Well, what a relief.
Volunteer help.
I was worried about that.
Are able to take their schooling through correspondence. The teachers bring their classes on Fridays and pick them up on Fridays, and so I help tutor in between that. So those are the programs that I'm involved in right now. I am still assigned to bicycle refurbishing. The sheriff's department brings bicycles that are, when they do raids of places, drug houses and stuff, and they find bicycles that have been stolen, they take them to the police department. They wait 60 days for somebody
That's what I'm saying, Kez Chick. Why are they arming her?
In different prisons around the valley. We restore them, fix them.
You're like the Peter Brady of the prisons.
So
wonderful.
I'm still assigned to that program, but until we're able to go back to work, I am confined to my unit for the most part. So it's just volunteerism is all I do.
So my next question is, what does your typical day look like?
I get up.
I crochet a lot.
I hit up the mess hall, maybe put a couple of biscuits down my bra, you know.
They're for the Linus program. It's for children. Some of the blankets go to children that are born to their mothers were in the slave trade for prostitution. Some, when they have hurricanes, some of our blankets go to the children of hurricane victims. So I do a lot of crocheting. I do a lot of studying.
Well, what do you study? You seem so intelligent.
Studying. I don't know. It probably doesn't mean much to anybody else, but it keeps the mind active and it poses questions. I study history. It poses questions. Well, how would I feel if I was living in those days?
Oh, you're reading about like Joan of Arc and women who were persecuted because you identify?
Yes, thank you. Ms. Downs, I do want to commend you on getting your AA degree. It's been some time, but that is a major accomplishment within the institution. So I want to congratulate you on that.
Hold on a minute. I'm sorry, James Taylor. I'm going to have to stop you right there, sir.
That was a question colored shade.
Listen now. I mean, look, buddy, what the fuck else has she got to do in there? I mean, I suppose she could be an even bigger criminal. I mean, she did escape the one time. So I just, I'm going to let you proceed because
I am called from the Inside Out Relationships. Can you tell the board about that program and what you got out of that?
That program is it's sponsored by, there's an associate warden across the street. She wrote that program to this prison.
This is Diane Downs' pensive look.
Violence, their classes.
Oh,
What did I get out
hi,
of it?
just leaning up against the prison
it
chair
made
in
me
the
more
visiting section. I don't get many
Before I
visitors
put that
because
book
I'm quote
I
unquote
thought
Diane
I had put
Downs.
grief
This
on
is
hold
my
all these
not
years
thinking about
because
murder.
I don't sit around.
I'm totally not thinking of unaliving you right the fuck now. Not even crossing my mind. You see, look what I see in the background. Tigger's arm, T-I-double-G-R.
Oh yeah, I wonder how Disney
I'm
feels
angry.
about that.
I'm sure that's a horrible product
Frustrated.
placement.
And I found out that's part of grief. That's one of the
Disney, get down to
stages of grief.
Chowchilla.
And I'm just stuck in it because I'm not allowed to process, which is another word that I learned in these programs. So what did I learn from it? I learned that it's okay to feel angry, but it's not okay to stay angry. You need to find out what it is that makes you angry and move past that. And what makes me angry is
Tell us.
not being able to process. And so I have found people that I feel safe enough to process with. One is the associate warden from across the street. Other LTOPs, the Inside Out helped me open up during LTOP. It wasn't just that we had permission in LTOP to speak freely, but I gave myself permission. And so I learned from Inside Out that it's okay to reach out to somebody else. I don't have to fix everything myself. I don't have to be okay all the time by myself. It's okay to go to somebody else and say, look, I don't get this. I'm confused about this. I don't understand this. I feel pain. I feel grief. I feel sorrow. I feel whatever I feel. It's okay to feel those
I wonder
things.
if they let her have
And
a
share it with somebody who's on the outside of my pain
for that.
that can
Let me
say,
just say this.
I get what you're saying. Have you looked
I
at
don't want
it
to be an
this way?
asshole, but
It's like,
there should be a time limit on these answers.
So basically it was the class, and there were several classes, but it's more of a looking inside your soul.
I don't want to be an a-hole. I just would ding, 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 ding.
Sometimes individuals may find themselves getting angry when there's no one around to talk to. So did you learn any skills that you could
No, I
employ
frankly
if you were
enjoy when
alone
nobody
or
is
with someone
around.
else and you
My
got angry?
personal policy
could
is
you-
leave me the fuck alone.
Yes, what skills did you learn to not allow
Oh.
you to spiral?
Not me.
Yes.
Okay. Quote unquote Diane Downs. My bad.
Mostly is stop. Just stop. You have control over your own anger. When you get angry and lose control, you give someone else permission to take control of you.
Oh, wait, now. I want to say this. We should all be listening up to Miss Diane Downs here because you're in control of you. You don't have to lash out. So everybody, perk
So
up your ears.
just
This is
stop.
some real good knowledge
Figure out
she's
what it is
laying
that makes you
down.
angry. Figure out a level from 1 to 10. Is it really that important? Is it going to matter 10
Take a
years
big
from now?
deep breath and know that you don't have to stab their eyeballs with the crochet hook.
Basically,
Right. You
stop.
don't have
Right.
to choke them out.
Go inside
It's
yourself.
okay
You
to
don't
feel
have
that,
to.
though.
Yeah.
It's
You don't have to
It's not somebody else making you
take
angry, it's you making
50
you angry, or
toothpicks and
me
make them
making me
into a
angry.
shank.
So figure it out. What is it about the situation that I'm allowing myself to be that way? And just plain stop.
You don't have to dig a hole through the wall and get to the electric cords and shock people. You don't got to do
Now,
that.
there was a class
Hell
that you took in 2016 called Victim Management.
Hello, Alice. I can already
I'm not
tell
sure
you're
if
up
you
to
recall
no
that
good.
class.
Yeah.
But talk to the board about
Victim
what that class
management.
entailed.
It's called Youth Impact, actually. And
Oh, you're going to correct the parole board. They love that shit.
it teaches us to step inside the victim's shoes. We saw lots of videos.
Oh,
of,
you mean you have to
God.
think about
people that
others?
had
Yeah,
been
not your
victimized,
forte.
Robberies, family members that were killed, rapes. And we watched these videos and then we would discuss them ourselves. And sometimes it would be a crime that
You mean
someone
like
in the room
shooting your
had
children?
been convicted of. And so we
Hey,
would
Jolie Lane.
how does it make you
Hey,
feel
Jolie.
to know that Mrs.
Good
X
to see you guys.
lost
I'm
her
so glad
husband
everybody's
the
here.
same way that you took someone's husband? And so it put us.
Ooh, that's a good
Oh.
one, Alexis.
You mean like the your
We were trying to
cellmate's
There are a lot of
hubby
prisons
that you
who allow
hooked up with
victims
on
to
your
come to the prison
quest to find the real
They're
killer while
victimizers.
you were escaping?
and control
Like that.
situations. And LTOP was trying to work that out with the prisons so that this could happen for the victims as much as for the inmates, because sometimes in the abstract, it's not as impactful as
Diane, I've been
really
tuned out for the
serious.
last 45 seconds of your spiel. I don't have any idea what you said.
Kes Chick, when you dream about crochet needles tonight, don't come blaming me. Diane Downs.
I respect the job that you have to do, but you're also
I'm not culpable for
kind of seeing it
nothing.
from the outside.
Vincent's missing here.
And so we were trying to work it out. Some of the girls and children are
Oh,
was never going to be
Vincent's
a
missing here.
possibility, but
She gets
trying to work it out so that
gets
some
there.
of the people, the prisoners, will be able to see their victims, even on the screen like this, so that they will
Why
be
are
able
you
to
talking
listen to the victim,
as
shout
if
at them, and say, "I'm
you're
angry."
not
Listen, she's listen to the victim and shout at them and say, I'm angry.
a perpetrator?
He's angry.
Ish, but not
He's
nearly
angry.
as
They ruined her life.
you or Daniel or Christy. That would be massive. That would dig to the soul. Those are the things that we look in victim impact. Is that those people, Mrs. X, we feel her pain. But if Mrs. X had been Christy or Daniel, and we were able to sort of
Spoiler alert,
transpose
you're Mrs. X,
Mrs. X
bitch.
into
You did this.
Christy, Daniel, whomever. So that's what we got out of it, was basically being able to
Who's we?
put
You got a
ourselves
mouse in your
in a
pocket? They're
victim's
asking you what
place.
you
And-
got
and
out
there's
of
more
it.
than just
Bro, I
the
can't
victim.
with
My
this
parents
lady.
were victims. The district attorney was a victim. The media was a victim.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm a victim.
These were all people that had to
Guess who wasn't a victim?
witness.
You.
and feel. So that's what was.
And
those
now
were the
we're
things
all
that we
victims
learned
of
in
your
that class.
bullshit.
She never says she misses her
This is
children.
kind of a difficult
Oh,
question.
no,
I
Kes
guess,
Chick, sorry, that's a question. She has not.
About the
No.
how difficult
She
it is.
doesn't do that.
No.
You know, obviously, you were accused and convicted of murdering your child and attempted murder of your other children. So, with those dynamics, I would assume that was much more difficult for you to put yourself in the victim's position, since you were the mother of the children.
Well, given the fact that I'm a
Yes,
complete
that's why-
psycho-sociopath, no, it's not. I don't. I
That's
recognize.
why we were hoping to be
that
able
they're-
to.
She's
I
now
don't
she's
care.
saying how she
Communicate
wants
by
to be able to
Skype.
see them.
Jesus.
She wants access to them.
I cannot put myself in
Yikes.
Christy's place or Daniel's place. But if Christy or Daniel were sitting here, I would be able to say things to them that would seem irrelevant to you. I mean, yes, I would say I was sorry. But it wouldn't, but if they were sitting there, it wouldn't be just, I'm sorry. It would be from the soul. I'm sorry.
What
If-
soul?
if
You
I
ain't got
knew
no
that
She's
soul,
sorry.
lady.
She's not sorry that she shot them,
Yes.
though. That's
No.
not what she's saying.
Part of this, I would have something to say to them, for them. But more than that, I would want to know what they had to say. Like, do you hate me? You have a right
Yes.
to hate me. Do you never want to forgive me? You have a right
Yes.
to never want
I'll
never
tell you.
want to forgive me.
Honestly,
Ever
what
in
would
life.
what she
You have a
deserves from
right.
her
And
children
I
is
want
not
them to
hate.
know
She
that
deserves indifference.
I'm not too
where they
sorry. If
feel
I can take it
nothing.
back,
Yeah, she's still thinking about
I
them.
would take everything back. I was stupid. I was a foolish woman. I lived a careless life. I thought I was putting my children first because I took them everywhere with me. But when you live a foolish, careless life and you take your children with you, I was always physically combative with my ex-husband. I could fight. My 3-year-old couldn't fight. What right did I have to take him someplace that he couldn't fight? Yeah, I could fight. Cheryl couldn't fight. Christy couldn't fight. It was foolish and stupid of me to take them into my careless, foolish life. I was wrong.
So she's not apologizing for shooting them. She's apologizing for taking them out that night.
Taking them out.
Change their minds.
Yeah. Oh gosh, no, Callie. This lady ain't never getting out.
And yet they're not here. In California, the victims come. They come to the hearings. They get to say, I hate you. That doesn't happen here. My
Because
words
they
are
don't
for Temecula community
want
college.
to.
Who cares?
They don't
care.
want to have
They just
anything
want
to
something
do with
gossip
you,
about
you
later.
psycho
My
hosebeast.
children have a right to say what they want to say to me. My
They're
children have a
adults.
right
They could
to
come if
see
they
that
wanted to.
I am so sorry. My heart is broken every single day. Only I can't tell people that in population because they don't care, first of all.
No, because they don't believe your dumbass.
Right.
I'm sorry, what was
Probably
the
could say
Oh,
that.
listen to her. I'm
Sorry.
sorry.
Yeah, I
What
think
was
you've
the
answered it, but,
question?
You know, my last question before I turn it over to the other board members is, you know, you've taken some programming, but the
Bless
records
it.
show, and I want to make sure I'm not incorrect.
Alice,
from
you're gonna have to wait a second.
1996 to 2008, which is
Do
a
you hear
12-year
this
period,
foolishness over here?
you weren't involved in any programming.
Can you hear
at
her,
all, at least
Christine?
any formal
No,
programming.
no.
I know there were some transfers and some other things, but could you
Thank
tell
you,
the board
Em.
why you elected not to
I thought Alice
participate
just
in
was your other
programs for
person
12
and you're
years?
talking now.
No, she's the
Tell
cat.
Alice to pipe down.
There were no
Alice the
programs
cat.
offered. All the programs that we
Alice
had
is my
here,
other
inmates
personality.
started,
There's really no
and,
cat. Ha ha.
staff members, I was across the street at VSPW. Inmates started the programs and they worked with the associate warden to bring outsiders in. That's when they started the SAP program, which was for drug offenders. But because they brought the SAP program into the facility in 1999 or 2000, that's when the facility started being more open to having more rehabilitative programs. And so when the inmates would work with people on the outside to bring programs in, Kairos, Free the Heart, different programs, it was the inmates that started the programs. And so there weren't any up until that part. There just weren't any.
What was the
And
question?
the last question, I promise, is the purpose of programming, as you can understand, is to allow these
Oh gosh, no,
individuals
Chick
to
Tracy. She's never
become
getting out, babe.
a better person than they were when they entered the institution, to learn and understand
I
what
don't know.
kind
You
of
might let her out when
person
her
they
parents
were,
pass away. I think.
hopefully
I don't think I'll ever
transgress
let her
through
out,
the
babe.
issues they had and come out on the other end a better person. So for you, after 35 plus years,
Are
can
you
you
different?
say that
No.
you're a better person at this end of the journey than you were when you entered the
Oh,
institutions?
sure. I'm great. Yeah, can't you tell?
I know I'm a better person, if for no other reason than that I know that I was a foolish, careless woman, and I'm not anymore. I'm older. I'm more experienced. Believe it or not, living with criminals gives you
But she's not one.
insight
Right.
into what a whole lot of the real world is like out there now.
What?
I think now before I act. I've had to think before I act. Like I said, in prison, I'm not allowed to feel or express certain things without retribution from inmates. And so
Oh, you mean you can't talk crazy like you do to other people? Okay.
About everything. You think about what you wear. You think about how you wear your hair. It seems ridiculous to you, but it's a lifestyle in here. And so when you think about something as simple as how do you wear your hair before you leave your unit?
Yeah.
What kind of shoes are you wearing before you leave your unit?
I think about those kinds of
It makes
things
you
too.
We do that every day.
Every day.
And so that's what I didn't do before. I didn't think about anything. I just lived.
Yeah, you
free
didn't think
spirit.
about your kids either, did you?
By
And
the
since
cuff.
missing ears on
And that's what caused
tonight.
me to make bad choices, because I wasn't making choices. I was just bouncing around. So I believe that my programming, the classes that I've taken, and even just working in plant
Vincent gets me
operations,
every
because in
time.
plant operations, we have to go to every yard.
It's my job.
And you're dealing with a whole different set of people. They have 4 different yards here. And they're like 4 different cities. They literally have their own flavor, their own attitudes,
Their own
kind
flavor
of inmates.
Bless it.
And so
Yeah,
every
she
time
just
you go
acts
to a
like
different
she's not
yard
one of them.
to work, you're dealing with a whole different crew of people. And you think
This
before
is
you
why
go.
they kick your ass in prison, because you
Make
act like
plans.
you're
You don't
above
just
it.
bop in and bop out. And so I think everything that I've done in prison has made me a better person because I think now, which I wasn't doing before.
How about I'm a better
When you
person
popped up,
Thank you,
because
Board Member Shu. That's all I have.
let me just
Board Member Lowry.
no, excuse me. No, Mr. Lowry or Miss Lowry, I can't remember what you said. Listen, you know how if you really truly reformed and you really changed and now you're a better person now, what you would do is take accountability for what the fuck got you in there in the first place, lady, which would be shooting your children. But no, you just were, I was just a foolish, careless woman, just flitting through life, not caring about how I wear my hair, what pair of
Or
pants
where
I
I
put
park.
on, or should I wear open-toed shoes or closed-toed? Is it after Labor Day? Is it before Easter?
I used to always park in front of the store. Now I might walk a bit.
No, yeah, I don't take the handicap parking spot. I wouldn't take my kids down a dark road. on a, in the middle of the night, driving erratically, and then all of a sudden they get shot, and boom, I'm driving 4 miles an hour. I wouldn't know. I'm just flitting through life. La di da di da. Fuck you.
See, that's why I wish I could see their faces.
Me too.
We wouldn't be kicked out. I'd be the judge.
Can you
You'd
hear
be
me
the attorney.
We lost you. And here she
There you
goes.
go.
I'm back.
I got this whole big black thing here, and so you're really little, but I can see you. So if I am not looking into the camera, you're right
Oh,
there.
did they just ask her a hard question?
Okay, that's
No,
good.
not
Sorry.
yet.
We're used to that
This
at
is the one. She's
Okay,
the one.
so I have
Okay,
some,
Greta.
I guess I
Hold
want to
on.
push back a little bit on something that
Yeah,
you just talked
push back.
about with.
First of all, look at Greta's mug here.
Yeah, she's not letting any shit slide by.
Greta ain't finna play with your ass today, Diane Downs. Okay, you about to get pushed back, ma'am. Brace yourself. All right, here we go.
Taylor. He
I
said, "Why
already
didn't
like
take any
you,
programs
Loretta,
during this 12-year
or
period of
Greta.
time?"
Sorry.
And you said there were no programs offered. I didn't take any programs because there were no programs. Then you explained to us how all the programs were created by all the adults in custody and really cobbled it together. So I want to read something to you from the institutional report and then kind of talk about it a little bit. So institutional report, page 72 of the board packet says, Ms. Downs' escape history has been severe during her 36-year incarceration. Ms. Downs has physically escaped from a secure perimeter fence planned and was found in possession of an escape device. Due to this behavior, she has extended periods of special housing placement and was therefore ineligible to participate in programming. In August 1993, Ms. Downs was transferred to California and placed in a maximum special housing unit. She received 3 major disciplinary actions while housed in SHU. As a result of her special housing assignment, she was not able to participate in programming or work assignments.
But according to her, they didn't have any.
Bruh, here comes Diane Downs. There weren't any programs available. There was none. It was me and the inmates, not the other inmates, because I'm not one of those people. No, those people and me.
And all along, she's in special housing unit on lockdown.
Meanwhile, this Puta done tried to escape 37 times, had escape materials, had a whole fucking Shawshank Redemption level plan going, and spent a considerable amount of time in the motherfucking shoe.
Like inmates are not eligible for programming.
Like they weren't going to fucking check on this.
She put it in the letter.
Right. Bless it.
Ms. Downs had not participated in any educational, vocational, self-help, or clubs while in general population, even though program availability options included NAAA, parenting, education, substance abuse classes, meditation classes, anger management, vocational programs.
She's about to run down every program available in alphabetical order.
At times, Ms. Downs refused to appear for these program reviews. And then it follows up with during a telephonic interview in 2008, she was questioned about her program and work history. Ms. Downs expressed that she has not taken any programs because, quote, there was no benefit to me. Ms. Downs says she reads and studies politics and human nature. Ms. Downs said, quote, if the parole board had wanted me to take programs, they should have stated that earlier. Ms. Downs also reported that Oregon law guidelines do not show that programs are necessary to satisfy the parole board. She further added, if I was in Oregon, this would not be required of me. So my reason is not, there were no programs offered. I didn't take any because there were no. It seems to me that you weren't eligible for programs due to your own behavior and choices for an extended period of time, and that frankly you didn't seem interested in taking them. If you didn't have to impress the parole board by taking them, you didn't think it wasn't required of you. It seems like you have no internal driver to want to engage in reform. So my ultimate question after all of that preamble is, when did you really start willfully engaging in programming and reformation activities? When did your attitude change?
When I realized it was going to be required.
Close A, custody, close A, up until the year 2000. Uh-oh, she's gone. Can she hear me?
Uh-oh, she's gone. Yeah, here we go.
Okay, you're gone. That's fine. I'm asking. I was close A custody up until the year 2000. As close A custody, I was confined to the yard. All the vocational classes were behind work change. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it except every yard is
got its different flavor.
In order to go to vocational classes and different programs, you have to go through the work change.
Yeah, which you were not eligible for.
Custody can't go back there. So I literally did not have access to that. There was nothing that I could do, even if I requested it. In fact, I did request.
Oh,
I was
God.
escorted by an officer to go see one of the teachers back there, and she says, as soon as you get off close A custody, then you can come back here. So I literally couldn't. I don't care what the report says.
Why were you on close A custody?
I couldn't.
You weren't done.
Up until the year 2000, I couldn't. As far as the other AA and NA, they were on the other side of the gate, also closed custody. They're at nighttime. Closed custody, closed
She has
A,
a reason
cannot
why
leave your
she-
cell after 4 p.m.
Bless
This
it.
is where this is not like this anymore, but back in the day when this was all happening, I
Back
could
in
not
the
leave my
day.
cell
What you know
after
about some
4
back
o'clock
in the
count,
day?
4:30
And I
count.
put that in the
I
letter.
could go to jail,
Put
had to
the
go
letter.
back. So all the programs that they offered were on the East Gate over in visiting.
So then
at
why
7
did you
7
tell them
p.m.
that it
I could
wasn't
not go, or
beneficial
it was
to
during
you?
the day on the West Gate on the other side of work change, and I could not go. I literally could not take any classes. You can check with the warden back in the day. That's really the truth. The classes that we began teaching each other started in, you asked when I became involved with programs. The classes we started teaching each other were probably, I was in D1 during the honor dorm period. So that was about 2005. But they were classes that you didn't get a chrono, so you don't have anything in your file. They weren't taught by psychiatrists or psychologists. Those classes didn't begin until 2000.
Back in the day?
No, we didn't even have classes then. Really, we didn't have staff-sponsored classes up until about 2015, 14. That's when we started having staff-sponsored classes.
You know they can check this stuff. Why
I
are you lying?
close B custody in the year 2000. And I was able to go through work change. But by that time, the reason they took me off close A custody is because they needed me to be a clerk. So as a clerk, I was locked in for 2 years as a clerk, and I couldn't take any vocational classes because institutional need. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Okay, so
They
you
couldn't
just
hire a
said,
secretary.
I don't care what the report says. So is it your kind of opinion that the institutional report that we got is inaccurate as to your programming history and your attitude?
My attitude was probably frustrated because I was trying to explain something to somebody that wasn't understanding how it works here in Oregon, here in California.
Oh, like right now?
And that she kept trying to make me comply with her view of what just wasn't real. I mean, I explained to you about the gates, closed custody.
Hold on
There's
a
nothing
minute.
that, if you're not here, it's harder for you to visualize it.
Hold on a
And I
minute.
was frustrated. This is before my program.
You're frustrating me now, Diane, and I have to take a tiny little break to reach you for filth real quick.
I don't care what the report says.
Yeah. You're going to discuss with somebody else. You're criticizing somebody else for not being in reality. Are you high right now? What have they got you on? Because girl, no. I mean, my God. Here we go.
I love Greta.
This is before my classes.
Greta's the real MVP. I don't care what anybody says.
So now
This is before she learned how to
explain
stop.
all the procedures to you.
Yeah.
Back then, I didn't.
I guess your processing isn't working today because you should
Thank you,
have
Mr. Bailey.
stopped.
Thank you. Ms. Downs, you talked a little bit about the criminal thinking
She doesn't like
programming that you
women.
engaged in and what you got out of that
No.
programming. And my question for you is, what did you learn about your own criminal thinking from some of your own decisions
Oh, I was
that have
careless.
been
I told
negative
you.
or resulted in trouble for you? What did you learn about your own thinking? What was the thinking that was driving some of those decisions for yourself?
I thought with my chotch. Oh, no.
Wow. I guess minimizing. I know that's the word you guys use a lot, but it's something that we also use.
Oh, my
If we
God.
were to trying to use an example, taking stuff out of the chow hall. That's so
This
minimizing.
woman's obsessed with
Going
those
to make
biscuits.
something that seems small in my own life.
How about, why don't
I had
you?
wooden shelves in my locker. That's not legal. But it organized everything. And so I was able to say, yes, but when they search my cell, everything is organized. Therefore, it makes it easier for them. So justifying. It seems ridiculous to you.
I might have a criminal
shelves were
mindset.
illegal.
I do
They
have
came and did a
happen
big
to
search.
find
They took
loopholes.
my
That's not
shelves
my fault.
because they were illegal. I was annoyed by that. And at the same time, I immediately, because I already taken the class, I said, well, they weren't your shelves to begin with. They were illegal. So
And I
as
just
far
throw
as
everything in there. Listen to
I
what she
didn't
said.
think I had criminal thinking. Everybody does. Everybody does. Trust me, if you took the class, you would know. Everybody, little things. It's like calling during work is criminal thinking. You're stealing from your boss. And so what I learned about myself is that
I'm going to stop you
I
right
was
there.
able before the class.
Okay. Calling during work. You're only stealing from your boss if you're calling during work hours and you're not allowed to be calling during work hours. But how about we talk about the crime for which you've been convicted and which you are now seeking parole? How about we talk about how you shot your children? Can we talk about that for a minute? Jesus, fuck this
Shame
woman.
on you, Jen Lou, for the criminal thinking that you're doing right now.
Well, they took my shells.
Shame on chat for all the criminal thinking you guys are doing right now.
If you took this class, you'd know about all your criminal thinking and how to stop it. What the fuck is wrong with your processors?
I was able to justify little things because
Little things,
it
huh?
didn't
Like
really
shooting
affect
your
anybody.
children.
The shells didn't hurt anybody. The shells helped staff. I justified it. Helped staff during searches. That's how I viewed it. Now, I don't have shells. Everything's just all piled in there. Which
And you see
makes it harder for the staff when they search, but it's
Bitter.
legal now. So I would say, as
Yeah.
far as my own criminal thinking, I no longer think that little things don't matter. Everything matters. Everything. Because 2 or 3 or 4 little things become a big thing. And pretty soon it's a pattern. It's a behavior. And it's like, it's always okay to take something out of the chow hall. It's always okay to run out the front door just to go say hi to a friend, even though you're not supposed to walk out the front door.
It's easy.
That's all criminal thinking.
Yeah.
And so
Hatching
it made
escape
me more
plans.
aware that some of the
Criminal
things I
thinking.
did that I thought were silly.
She wasn't trying to escape. She was trying to run out the front
They're
door.
not.
Yeah,
She was
There's a
trying to
reason
show
that you're
them
not
the
supposed
flawed
to do it.
system.
Whether you like it or not, there's a reason for it. If everybody ran out the front door,
That would be me.
hi to a
I'm going to
friend.
tell you right now. I would, even if I did it, that would be me. I would be like, look, I wasn't trying to escape, you a-holes. I'm trying to help you here. You see how, look, see where this fence is? See, this is a potential escape. I'm just showing you. I'm pointing
Jen
them
Lou's
out
not even
to
allowed
you.
to be the line leader anymore because she might get some ideas.
I would probably be like, I was just trying to show you how flawed your system is. You can't look. See right here? There's a hole in this fence. I could easily climb through. Watch.
She literally has she gets a room with the window that's compromised, and she says, and I told them, and you know, it's just like, even if you put your head out, no, you can't get through that. You can't even get your head out.
People get
Not that I
shanked,
tried.
staff lose control. There's a riot on the yard and they don't understand what happened. So there's a reason for rules, and there's a reason no matter how silly you think they are. So there you go.
Huh? That's not
There you
even.
go.
There
Okay,
you go.
Thank you.
There you
Thank
go.
That was the only question I had. I'll turn it back over to Chair Shu.
I'm not going to ask any more questions that are going to go unanswered.
Ms. Downs,
There you go.
let's talk about your work history. Looks like
I couldn't work. Remember, I was
least
in the
from
shoe.
report that we got, your current job is plant operations, maintenance, and repair. Is that still what you're doing?
Yes, refurbishing bicycles. We actually work on the staff bicycles also. But our main goal is to refurbish.
I wouldn't
broken
let you work
bicycles
on a
to give to
shoelace,
the
Diane. I would.
children at Christmas time.
Okay. And I see recently, I think about 3 years ago, you were a yard worker. Is that correct?
Yes, groundskeeping. It's landscaping, groundskeeping. Yeah, plant operations. Yes.
So it looks like recently most of the work has been, related to work, to physical work. Have you held positions that are more clerical?
Were you not listening?
Yes. Every time they get a chance, they make me a clerk.
Okay.
Always
Can you tell us about your experience as a clerk?
I don't like it.
Yes, I was a clerk for the
I want to be
counselors.
outside where there's tools.
I was a clerk for a teacher, which involved tutoring, which involved teaching. That's why they pulled me as a clerk in education, because of my college degree.
He
That was
is
my
low.
first
I
clerk
think
position.
he's.
That's when they took me off close A custody and made me close B because
I think
They
he's
needed
low
to
key
be-
trolling her ass.
I'm not saying I'm special. Don't go there with it. I'm just saying they needed somebody that could not just do paperwork.
We're not
but they
saying
could
that
teach,
either.
So they pulled me.
Literally nobody
I
is
was a
saying
clerk
that.
at the watch office for the custody captain. I
I
think
know
that's it. I
Vincent
think that's all
missing
the
here.
clerking
She
is.
funds it.
They put you in a clerk position
Okay,
because they know they got to keep
Those are all
all
my questions
eyes
for
on
about your
you
work
since
history.
you like
Do
to
other board
escape.
members have
Ma'am.
questions? Sorry, did you have something else you wanted to say?
I was a clerk in
That's
plant
all about how she
operations.
funds
Sorry
the
about that.
bicycle.
I was a clerk in plant operations, in between being a painter and groundskeeper. Also, just before I went to the bicycle refurbishing, I actually worked inmate day labor as a ditch digger.
We heard.
I was literally a ditch digger. So, and I mean 10 foot deep, 5 foot wide.
Oh,
I was a
good.
ditch digger. So,
Okay.
All right, thank you.
That's
Ms.
about the
Price, do you have
size
any
of a
questions
grave.
About employment history.
No questions on this topic, thank you.
Mr. Taylor,
No questions on this topic. Thank you.
Ms. Lowry,
Yes, I
No
have
questions,
some.
thank you.
Oh,
Mr.
no.
Bailey.
No questions on this topic for me either.
They
Okay.
don't even know more about her ditch
Ms.
digging.
Downs,
No.
before we
They don't
get to
give
the psychological
about her ditch
evaluation, I
digging.
do want to
Oh,
take
God,
some time
here
to
we
talk
go.
about your disciplinary history and violation record,
Uh-oh.
while you've been in several institutions. I don't see any violations since 2006, so I do want to commend you for that. I will say, in your
Since she
violation
turned
history,
50.
the thing that stands out most to me is your escape
About the time they
attempts.
put her in the elder dorm.
So can you tell me how many
Escape
attempts you've made
attempts.
to escape various institutions?
How many times have I been caught or how many times have I been tried and not been caught? Because there's a difference.
and it
One.
wasn't an attempt. I escaped. 1987, July 11th.
That wasn't an attempt. That was
1987.
successful.
All right, 1987, and that was the Oregon Women's.
Let the record reflect that it wasn't an attempt, sir. I was successful. I
If
escaped.
I wanted to get out of here, I would.
I'm choosing to stay. You're welcome. Saving the tax people money by not having a manhunt.
Correctional Center.
Yes.
Look at
Can
her
you
face.
tell us what
When
was
she
your
got
thinking
caught.
at the time that allowed you to escape from the Oregon Women's Correctional Center?
What?
Yes. I had just gotten my appeal back from the parole
They're asking
from the
about her mindset.
Court of Appeals,
I see.
and they denied they AWOP'd me, affirmed without opinion. They didn't give a reason. I just lost without a reason. My attorney, Howard Collins, said, "Well, that's it. Your appeal's over. We're done." I didn't know that I had another level. I was very, very inexperienced. I didn't know I could go on to the next level of appeal.
Uh-huh.
And so
Somebody else's fault.
at
Okay.
the very same time, there was somebody that said that they found a suspect in my case, and that person had talked to Lane County, and Lane County said, "Case closed."
Holy Jesus, y'all. She is still sticking with this story.
Oh, she is, absolutely. She wrote to the FBI. Just you wait.
Did she write to John Douglas?
She wrote to the FBI.
Just generally the
And
FBI,
the
not
FBI
anybody specific.
The FBI gave the letter to the parole board.
Please let them read it. But dear
Yes.
FBI, you
Like, she was surprised about that part that the FBI sent it to the parole board.
I'm done.
Look at this bitch is still up too.
Diane doesn't give a fuck.
We're not interested in finding him. And so
Because
since
there was
I
no
had,
him. Maniac.
I had lost my appeal. I had no more hope. The only hope that I had was in finding the person who committed the crime. And so
I did. I bounced.
in
I
order to
did.
understand the mind of an escapee,
You have to be an inmate.
you really have to live inside prison. You can
Like, she's
imagine
just
what it's
living
like
there.
on
She's
the
not-
outside. But a person doesn't escape from prison unless they're willing to die doing it.
Hold on a minute. In order to understand why somebody would want to escape prison, you have to be in prison.
You have to live there. Like me. This is my living situation.
Is there like live like you for how long? Does it, like
Prison has to be the situation, it doesn't have to be prison. The situation that they're in has to be so terrible that they would rather be dead
No.
than continue as they are.
No.
Because you could get shot.
I'm going to stop you right there. Okay.
Well, sorry, but she doesn't think she belongs to be there. She should be
No,
there.
she's innocent, remember?
She's a king's daughter.
Yeah. Let me tell you the difference between me and you, Diane Downs. If I wanted to escape my home right now, guess what? I could. And guess what else? Once I was out, there would be no fucking manhunt. I'm like, yo ass. So stop it.
Going over the fence. It's the same reason that women stay with abusers for so long. They have to reach a point of rather being dead.
Yeah, you're equating prison with battered wives.
And
got it.
That's where I was. I was at the point that I didn't even care if I got shot going over the fence. That's how bad it was. And
that's why you're smiling in your capture photo.
Look at how happy she is.
Or hurt.
What a weirdo.
Alone again.
I would be pissed. And here she is.
I would be hurt if I escaped from prison and then they caught me. I would be laughing like that.
Only escape.
Yes.
So your history shows that you've attempted to escape several other times.
Oh, I don't.
So I want to ask you about your 1989
Do I have to answer that?
action for attempted planning to escape from the New Jersey Department of Correction.
Oh shit!
Oh, here we go.
Can you explain to me
Her head
why
didn't fit
you
through the window.
that disciplinary action?
1989, a man named Robert Seaver
Head was
came
too
to
big.
visit me. He wanted to marry me. I didn't want to marry him. His friend wanted me to sign a contract with Motown Pictures for a movie. I don't want a movie made.
It's
I
the
don't want
same guy
anything
that
to do with
married the
media. I didn't
Manson
want a movie made.
girl.
He wanted me to sign a contract. I wouldn't. So
What?
he wanted to marry me
Yeah.
Hold
so
on.
that he could sell
Hold on.
my contract as my husband. I said no. I don't.
Robert
Say that again.
Robert Seaver is also the man that married one of the Manson girls in prison.
Oh,
Mhm.
huh?
want a movie made.
He's
I
a
don't want
serial
anything to do
weirdo.
with media.
Yeah.
So he called his friend. His friend, he came back, and I know this because he said it in the visit. He said, my friend says that I've been ordered
Read the
home,
fifth, Diane.
and it's over. If you don't marry me today, it's out of my hands. I said, I'm not going to marry you. He walked out, went straight to investigative services. I don't remember what they call it back there. They call it ISU here.
Hold
He went
on,
to
hold on,
investigative
hold on.
services, said
I
was
have to
planning
do
escape.
this. So, as this is playing, the truth is in the background. All right. So hold on a second. I need to get this to go away. I can't though. How do I make this? Maybe if I do that. No, that's not going to help. All right. Mr. Seaver admitted that he was going along with the possibility of escape at first, but changed his mind because of his quote unquote guilt and the realization that she was only using him. He recalled that Downs had told him that she would ask her brother James, last name unknown, from California, if he would help her escape. This way, Seaver, would not really be directly involved. Seaver, would just be involved by doing all the legwork. He stated that James had a criminal background. Mr. Seaver stated that inmate Downs' plans for escape were all centered on the South Hall yard. This is the ditch digging yard. He stated that the yard was the only way she would go, and that a helicopter would be used. Mr. Seaver admitted that weapons would be utilized and it was very possible that a staff member would be seriously injured. Mr. Seaver admitted violating visit rules on 3 occasions. An exchange of wedding rings, passing of a note with her yard times listed, passing him a small plastic baggie. He was supposed to fill this bag with sperm and pass it to her on the next visit so that she would become pregnant, except it doesn't work like that. Mr. Seaver stated that she had mailed him tapes and letters that mentioned escape. He recalled that she had asked him to memorize some of them and then destroy them. Mr. Seaver said that he had not destroyed these tapes and that he would try to locate them and turn them over to this unit for review. Here comes Diane.
They came, touched me
Tra-la-la-la-la.
up, took me to ADSEG, told me that I was planning to escape. I said I wasn't. They said, he said, I said, make him take a polygraph because I'm not. I'm going to court. This was in May of 89. I was going to court. I was on the calendar to go to court in September of 89.
We call that a
for
docket.
my post-conviction relief hearing. Being on the outside of the fence would not have allowed me to go to court and have my name cleared. It was more important to me to have my name cleared.
Have my name
Not
cleared.
so much anymore.
Oh
Not
my
worried about it.
God.
But he went to ISU. I told ISU, do a polygraph. He did a polygraph. He failed the polygraph.
Okay,
He
let's
was lying.
see.
But I was already in ADSEG, and it was convenient for them.
On Monday, May 15, 1989, Mr. Seaver submitted voluntarily to a polygraph examination. The results of the polygraph examination, contrary to what Ms. Downs just said, revealed that inmate Diane Downs was planning to escape. During interviews with Mr. Seaver on May 12, 15, 16, 1989, he outlined numerous escape plans which he and Downs had discussed. Among these plans, but not limited to, were he would pass a land spectator and hire a helicopter. Once in the air, he would force the pilot at gunpoint to land in the South Hall yard while inmate Downs was on recreation. Mr. Seaver stated that Downs had given him a piece of paper with her yard times listed. See
She thinks
attached.
she's El Chapo.
She does. This is some Pee Wee Herman level bullshit. He admitted that he had been on Ray Street and Pittstown Road. Both of these roads are adjacent to this facility. He stated he would have had no problem entering this facility undetected. He admitted that he had purchased books on making explosives. He was aware of the fencing and electronic zones. He stated that he had knowledge of the zones along with the electronic map located in a vehicle that was used to transport him to South Hall for his visits with inmate Downs. Discussed was a plan whereby he would enter the facility undetected via Route 78. He would then conceal a weapon near the visit trailer. The following day, after being processed for his visit, he would retrieve the concealed weapon. This plan would result in a hostage situation. Mr. Seaver stated when he got cold feet, a plan was discussed whereby he would hire someone to assist in the escape. He stated that he would just do the legwork in preparation from the escape. Mr. Seaver stated that he and Downs had planned to rough it and eventually hide in another country. Attached is a typewritten list of items Downs asked him to purchase prior to escape. I'm done.
So they convicted me. They brought the prosecutor in. They took me out of my cell one day, put me in a room like this with a phone, and it was the district attorney for that county. He asked me a bunch of questions about the escape. I answered his questions. I sat in the room for a minute.
I lied.
Didn't know
My
if
whole
they knew that
ass
I was done
off.
because there was nobody like an officer sitting with me.
Flawless.
So I got up, opened the door, walked into the hall, and heard the same man that I'd been on the phone with. I heard his voice, and I looked to my left. He was at the officer's cage.
What
He had
was
been
the
using their
question
phone
again?
I
in-house
have
to
no
talk to me.
fucking
And
idea,
I heard him
Christine.
tell them,
What
tell the
are
warden,
you talking
this
about?
woman is not planning to escape. I have no reason to prosecute her. You've given me no reason to believe she's
Yeah,
planning to
right.
escape. I thought to myself, right,
What?
this is over. That's why the prosecutor did not charge me with escape in New Jersey, because I wasn't. He had no evidence that I was. They took me back to ADSEG, and I did hear in ADSEG. I was found guilty
Except
of
all
planning
the
to escape.
plans,
Even though
baggies.
Robert
Right.
Seaver failed the polygraph, and even though the district attorney
He
said,
didn't
you
fail
have no
it.
reason to believe that she's planning to escape, and
He
neither do
has
I.
no evidence. Except all the evidence.
Except all
Can't
the
tell you why
evidence.
that's
That's
on
not
my
real
record, but
evidence.
it's
That's
definitely
bullshit
been a lot.
evidence.
It has.
So are you saying Mr. Seaver planned it all by himself, or did he get help in planning the escape?
He wasn't planning to escape either. He was planning to make some money selling the escape story. He took the story back and he gave it to his friend John Stevens, and John Stevens sold the story for $10,000.
Huh?
How do you
The
show
record
me?
says Mr.
Receipt.
Seaver turned over numerous items, including tapes, letters,
Turn
and
over numerous
and via the mail. Wanting
numerous
him to
evidences.
purchase preparation for it.
Yikes.
Is that not true?
That is not true. And that tape
I'd like
recording,
to listen what she
I
says.
hope somebody still has that tape recording because I really want to do a voice analysis. That's whatever tape recording. They never gave me a tape recording. I have no idea what's on the tape recording, but it certainly isn't.
Jesus.
What, the FBI doesn't have better things
Okay.
to do.
And let's move on.
Diane
to talk about
Downs
your
is the John
91,
Douglas of prison.
disciplinary action for attempt or planned escape, also in New Jersey. Looks
Yes.
like a cell search. They found
New
a
Jersey
altered
kicked her
light
out
blue
after
jumpsuit,
this.
assorted buttons, 3 yards
They've
of
had
black
enough of her
fabric,
shit.
black pouch or purse
Oh,
that was
shit.
fashioned out of black fabric
Look, she
using a cardboard type material.
done made herself
Can
an
you explain
escape
to us,
outfit.
Yeah.
what that disciplinary action was about from your perspective?
They're just mean.
I just had
I was
fabric.
charged with possessing a light blue denim fabric
I was going to
and
crochet it.
black purse, all of which was legal and came through the visiting center. Again, you'd have to be in New Jersey. It's not anything like Oregon. Trust and believe, New Jersey's nothing like
Well,
Oregon.
you're not in Oregon
But
anyway.
all those things
You're in
came
California
through
now. Shut up.
the visiting center. I received them. I'd had them for 2 years.
It was
Nice,
prison.
Nancy.
I was
And they
going to have a
used that
prison
light
fashion
blue
show.
denim
What's wrong with
material
that?
And said that I was going to make a navy blue polyester officer's uniform. There's no way to do that. It's inconceivable
Well,
that
she
light
worked
blue
in the
denim,
laundry unit.
as written
Right.
in the 115 or DR, is going to ever turn into navy blue polyester. And it was a jumpsuit. It was a little bitty jumpsuit. The officers wear long pants that go down to their ankles. The jumpsuit was was thigh high. It was a one-piece jumpsuit from the shoulder to the thighs. But if you hadn't been there, if you hadn't seen it, you put it in my record and there it is forever. And it looks legitimate, but it's not.
It's all just a
It's just
misunderstanding. Poor Diane. She's just been railroaded, y'all.
And there you go.
Okay. And then
I like how
Okay.
there was
Mr.
another incident from
She's like,
94, I
okay.
believe, this time in California. Search of your cell revealed mortar and caulking from the area around the cell window had been peeled or chipped away. Do you recall that incident?
That's not my fault. That's poor
Oh, yes, I
maintenance
do,
on the prison's
because
part.
I was in ADSEG. I was moved from cell to because of the escape and the alleged attempted escapes. They moved me from cell to cell every 3 months.
Oh, what?
They
Officer
moved you from
Molina
New Jersey to
took me
California.
to a cell
Mhm.
on the upper tier, and the first thing that we do when we go in a cell is inspect it for repairs. What needs to be done? Does the sink work? Does the toilet work? Does the light work? Well, as I'm standing there and she's uncuffing me through the food port, I said, Molina, there's caulking missing from this window.
Molina.
She said, what? And so she cuffed me back up, pulled me out. She went and looked at it and she goes, all right. So she made a work order and she wrote it in red because it was a window. She sent the work order in. Nobody ever came to fix it, but she put a copy of the work order in a file right by the officers, by the sergeant's door.
So this
An officer
time
came
is
in
Molina's
about
fault. Got it.
2 months later, and when he pulled me out for shower, they searched the cell and he saw the caulking. So he wrote me a DR for planning for, actually, he didn't write it for planning to escape. He wrote it for removing caulking from the window. I don't think he wrote it planning an escape. I think it was just damaging state property. I honestly can't remember what he wrote it for. And I was
But
found
you can
guilty.
remember
I
all
appealed
the
it
other
all the way to
circumstances. Got it.
Sacramento, because I asked him, go get the report. It's right in that box right there.
Go
It's
get the
literally 6
report.
feet away. Go get the report. You're going to see that Molina wrote that down. I didn't do it. I didn't damage the window. Molina saw that it was there. She put in a work order. He said, I don't have to. And he didn't. That was the sergeant. I can't remember his name. It's on the report. So I appealed it to Sacramento. Sacramento overturned it because there was evidence that he refused to take into consideration. They sent it back. A lieutenant heard me. The lieutenant said, what is this about? I told him exactly what I just told you. He said, where's this report? I said, right there in that box. He goes, sit here. He didn't have to leave my site. He walked over to it's a box, like a file cabinet on wheels.
Nobody gives a shit about
Walked over,
what
pulled
the
it out,
box
and he
looked
goes,
like,
this is in
Diane.
red. How did he miss this in red? I said, he didn't look at it. He goes, not guilty. Well, they're supposed to
Okay.
remove that from your file when you're found not guilty.
Oh,
Apparently
but
they
they
haven't.
didn't. They
There you
just
go.
don't
That's-
like you.
That's
There you go.
There's he did write
There
a
you go.
128.
There you go.
He included the 128. It's somewhere, it was 1 year later. It was 9 months. It took 9 months to get that far. So if that was
Oh,
in March, it would be
that's
9 months later.
bad
There's
luck.
a 128 in there, which is an informational chrono that said that 115 was removed from my file. It's in there somewhere. And I know that because the 2008 board and I had this same
Deny her
discussion.
parole just
And
for
the
lack of
2008
answering
board,
questions
Ms.
in a
Baker
timely
withdrew.
fashion.
She said, oh yes, here it is. So I know it's in there somewhere.
Miss Baker, get over here.
Don't know where, but Miss Baker found it, so it's there somewhere.
Come on, Miss Baker.
So, Ms. Downs, let me ask you this. In the 4 instances that you were documented as escaping or attempting to escape,
All lies.
and I've heard your version of it, but my question for you is, do you think through those instances, do you think you exhibited criminal thinking?
No, because I didn't do
Oh,
it.
definitely. Definitely. With my escape? Oh, yeah.
What about the 89 incident with Mr. Seaver?
No, because I didn't do it.
Criminal thinking with Mr. Seaver.
Ooh.
Not ringing any
No.
bells.
Okay.
Nope.
And what about
Innocent.
the
Not
other
guilty.
incident in New Jersey and the incident in California?
Nah. Not then either.
91?
No.
No. Everything I possessed was something that I was allowed to possess. We were allowed to change our clothing. I
Come on,
really
Greta.
Now
wish you
they
knew
were
how
allowed
things
to
were in New
change their
Jersey.
coat.
Get Greta
You
in the
could-
game.
If my mom wanted to bring a pot roast in a pan, she would bring it to the visiting center and they would bring it to me. If she wanted to bring me a needle and thread and material, I could make anything that I wanted.
You could be charged for that.
And
It was
including an
that's what you were allowed
officer's
to do.
uniform.
So no criminal thinking.
If your mom brought you a needle and thread, I'm sure she'd get charged for that.
Caulking, definitely no, because I told Molina immediately.
I'm
I
a
didn't
fan
wait
of
around,
caulking. Why
see
would
if
I
my head
destroy
would fit through the
caulking?
window,
I'm
which, by the
pro
way, your head
caulking.
won't fit through that window. I don't care if you took all the caulking out. The window is 3 inches wide. So nobody's head is going to fit through that. So as soon as I saw the caulking, the handcuffs weren't even off me. I said, Molina, there's caulking in this window that's
We
missing a big
already
old chunk of
heard.
it. And
It's
she
a
pulled me
simple
out,
yes
looked
or
at it.
no
So no, it wasn't
question.
even like I waited to see,
Look
if I
it.
could do anything. No, so no.
Okay.
Okay.
Those are all the questions I have.
It's not
for
like
this
she'd been
hearing.
waiting to see if she could get her head through
Let
it,
me
which
ask
I
Right.
the
couldn't.
members if they have any questions for you.
Which I
Ms.
couldn't.
Rett?
No questions, thank you.
Mr.
Come on,
Taylor?
Greta.
Come on, Greta.
The only comment I have or question is, in 2006, it was reported that for a 20-day period, you refused to report to your work assignment. And although it wasn't written up as a DR per se, can you explain to the board your reasoning for not reporting?
Didn't feel like it.
Yes.
Are you
She was
ready?
gonna
Brace
get beat up on
yourselves.
the yard.
You're Mr. Taylor, so you're not the one who manages prisons. There's another man who manages prisons.
No, that's not me.
Okay, you need to talk to him because I'm going to tell you some things about prison that are pretty nasty. I worked in
Oh,
the
my
watch office,
God. Here
and there
we
were 2
go.
other clerks in there that worked with, actually 1 clerk and 1 porter. I worked for the captain.
Uh-huh.
The lieutenant's clerk, the watch commander's clerk, wanted her girlfriend to work there.
Oh.
The only way that she could get her girlfriend to work there is if I quit. So I asked the watch commander if I could quit. He said no. I said, your clerk wants her girlfriend in here. He goes, I know that. I said,
It's another
I need
setup.
to quit because she wants her girlfriend. No. So they brought up a bully up there every single day
A
to
bully.
sit in there and harass me every single day, all day long to sit, because the clerk's office isn't in the watch office, it's in the program office.
Mm-hmm.
So she would sneak in the back door and sit there all day long, and nobody ever bothered the clerks. Nobody ever came to check the clerks because we had a phone. If you need the clerk, you get on the phone and say, I need you in my office. So it was just her, me, her bully. That wasn't even her girlfriend. Her bully and the porter. The porter would leave because the porter didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Mm.
All day long. This went on for 2 weeks, and I told the watch commander, I cannot be in this job. It's
I
tough.
simply can't.
So I decided it was worth the 115 just to not to show up for work. It was either that or eventually the bully was eventually going to, because the bully was a stud broad. And by my not backing down, I was
I'm pretty sure
challenging
that's
her stud
offensive.
license. And
God,
this girl has
Diane.
some serious criminal thinking. I wish you knew. I wish you knew her.
I wish
Serious
you
criminal
knew her.
thinking in this one. If it eventually starts to feel like
Listen to
this
her
family
judging other
is making her
people.
look bad, she will turn to violence. She had a long history of violence. And so I
Oh,
decided I was either going to get beat up or have to beat somebody up or refuse to work. Either way, I was going to get a DR
I chose
So I
the most
took
passive
the higher
approach.
and didn't go to work. So I didn't go to work for 2 weeks. That's how unimportant my job was. I didn't go to work for 2 weeks. And so finally the CO, the
That's how
correctional
unimportant
officer
my
that
job
worked
was.
for the watch commander, or the sergeant actually, he was directly under the sergeant, came to my cell one day and said, Downs, What's really going on? I said, and I explained it to him. He goes, yeah, I know. We've been watching.
So
We
gross.
didn't do
Yeah,
anything.
I
So
know.
gross.
Well, see what you would do. I said, well, this is
Yeah,
what
I
I'm doing.
know.
Give me a 115 because I'm not going to write you a 115. You're being threatened, but I'm going to have to unassign you. And somebody else wrote the 115 anyway. So there you go. That's
So there you go.
I
There
didn't
you
go to
go.
work. And
There you
before
go.
that, my last 115 was 1998.
People
Or
just
DR.
don't like
You guys call them DRs.
quote unquote Diane Downs.
1998.
It's what it is.
So
There you go.
This is
Thank
why
you, Virtue.
you
Thank you,
get
Ms.
beat
Downs.
up because you
Ms.
say
Lowry?
homophobic shit.
No questions on discipline.
Oh,
Oh!
come on, Greta.
Come on, Greta. You're not being very
No
fun.
questions for me on this topic either. Thank you.
Are you going to
Okay, Ms.
ask any
Downs,
questions?
Before we move on to talk about the psychological report, and there will be a lot to talk about with the report, I just want to make
'Cause you a
take
mess,
regular
girl.
breaks so that everybody can have a chance to stretch their legs, get some water, or use the restroom if they need to. So with that in mind, before we move on, I will take a break. Let's make it a 10-minute break, so we will come back on the record at 10:10.
That's the end of part 1.
Thank you.
That's it, you guys. All right, hold on. Let me see what's going. Let me see. Hold on.
There you go.
And there you go. What's part 2? This is the one fantastical stories. Hold on, let me see this one though. There is one that is audio or that is video. Hold on a second. Let me see how long this
There's
is.
one that's like 7 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 13 minutes, y'all. I don't
Yeah.
care. We're watching this. And then we'll call it. We should do this. Do these in like 3 parts, 3 weeks? What do you think?
The fantastical stories one is the best.
All right. So
We'll
should
do
we
that one
save
next
it for next week or do it tonight?
Next week. But do you have
Okay.
the smaller clip?
I do. I'm playing it right now.
It's a bunch of bullshit too.
Are y'all ready? Here we go.
This must have been like 2008. Yeah.
Hold on. Let me look. Says
Because it's not that one. It's
the Oregon Parole Board rejected a plea from convicted child killer Diane Downs for parole. Downs will not be eligible for parole for another 10 years. So it had to be. Well, this was uploaded, like 11 years ago, I think is what it said. So this must have been the one. This must have been 2010. Yeah.
Yeah, let's watch it.
Yeah. All right. Here. Oh, oops. All right. Here we go.
The murder and the other crimes you were convicted of?
This is the one I've
I
watched.
didn't commit them, and I still maintain my innocence.
The night you took your children to the hospital in Springfield, will you describe the events of that evening?
Yes. My kids and I were sitting at home watching TV. We were watching Helen Keller, the Helen Keller story. I received a phone call from someone who said that he wanted me to come pick up some photographs.
Yeah, I
for my
had it at
boyfriend, not of
125.
my boyfriend, but for my boyfriend, Rick.
Rick
is a guy that I'd
Knickerbocker.
been dating for about 6 weeks, and he claimed to be an FBI agent. Whether or not he was, I don't know. I
never heard that
certainly
before.
never
Me
called him at
neither.
work or showed up or made him prove it or showed a badge. It didn't matter to me.
Yeah, we know. It didn't
wasn't
matter to you. We
To
know.
me, it was just dating.
It was Wiener. We get it.
But I received a phone call about 9:15.
We don't judge. The word don't slut shame.
Photographs up for Rick.
Okay.
Piled the kids in the car. We went out to go meet this person to pick up the photographs.
Oh, okay.
I stopped by Heather. Wow, I can't remember Heather's last name now. I stopped by Heather's house.
Yeah, because she's a
I
chick
told-
and
I
chicks
told
are
Heather on the phone
unimportant.
a few days earlier that I had a newspaper ad for her. So she had been wanting to buy a horse, and this was a newspaper ad that would allow her to adopt a horse. So I had told her that I had a newspaper clipping for her that I'd found at work. So as long as
Oh.
we were going out to meet this guy to pick up photographs, we went by Heather's house.
Saves
What? I
on
thought they
gas.
were just
I got a horse
sightseeing.
just the other day. So
No.
we went to see the horse.
Hold on a
We
minute,
got back in the
Christy. Now
car.
you're just ruining this whole thing. Can't
Oh,
you see
geez.
that? Can't you see that what Diane is doing is combining multiple errands? Saves on gas. It's better for the environment. She's a conservationist, really. What the fuck is your problem?
Shame on me.
You just sit there and think about what you've done.
We left. I went to meet this guy. Somebody in the road flagged us down. I stopped and got out of the got out of my car, and he said something to the effect of, "I want your car." And I laughed at him. And I said, "You've got to be kidding." Because in my mind, those kinds of things don't happen. In Arizona, those things don't happen. I don't know about Oregon, but in Arizona, those things don't happen.
In Oregon, those things happen.
In
Jumped
Arizona, those
into the
things
car,
happen.
leaned into the car and started firing the weapon. And it happened so quickly that by the time he stood up and faced me, it was over. I mean, it was just that fast. He said something about the car again, and I struggled with him. The gun discharged. He fell back. I jumped in the car, put the keys in the ignition, and took off. The car door shut by itself. That's it. And I went to the hospital.
That's it. There you go.
That's it. There
And
you go.
Christy and Dan were in the back seat. When we got to the hospital, they were still crying. The nurses reported that they were still crying. The state says that I was the one that shot them and that I wanted them dead. If that was the case, I would not have taken them to the hospital still crying. There are so many other ways to
Jeez.
accomplish such a horrific deed if I was going to do it.
Have you
And
thought about
certainly
it?
Bright enough to figure out another way besides
Oh.
somewhat insane and hokey that I believe it.
Mhm.
I'm not dumb.
You're not? Okay.
Ultimately, you told several different versions of the story when law enforcement investigated this, correct? When you talked
Not
about
correct.
it, ultimately, well, I understand
She
that,
doesn't want to get out.
Not
You
correct.
told law enforcement that this was done by two men with ski masks.
This is what somebody told me. How do I explain this?
How do you?
How do
My
you?
children and I were attacked. The police kept saying, "Diane, you must have lapses in your memory because there's holes in this you could drive a semi truck through. None of this makes sense. You're forgetting something." I believed, because I'd never had
I don't think
any
they
dealings
said
with
you were
authorities, and I
forgetting
believed the
something. I think they
authorities,
said
and
you
so
were
I
full of
thought they
shit.
did,
Okay.
that I
Okay.
had lapses of memory. I can't tell you how the towel
Oh.
got around my arm. So I know from my own personal experience that I did have at least that much of a lapse of memory. I don't know how the towel got around my arm.
Uh-huh.
So when I would have, what people would call me up and people would say, "I know so-and-so and he said such and such." Well, I have another guy would call and say, "I have a neighbor and he has a car that just looks just like that. And he's been talking." These kinds of things were being said to me either by phone. People would stop me on my mail route. I worked in Cottage Grove, and people would drive all the way to Cottage Grove just to meet me on my mail route and tell me
To
these
give
kinds
you
of things.
to give you
So I
tips,
would
not
call
take
the
it
police,
to
or I
the.
would go to the police.
After
Hold on
they'd
it.
ask me for my autograph,
I would
they
say,
would
"This
tell me
is
these
what's being
things.
told to me."
Hold on just a minute. Back the milk truck up, ma'am. So you're telling me that these citizens decided, you know what? I'm going to track this mail carrier down, right? In Cottage Grove. I'm going to track her down and I'm going to give her the tips, not the popos. Stop it.
Those are the kinds of things they would say that I changed my story. I wasn't changing my story. I was trying
Oh.
to help. The police kept saying I had lapses of memory.
I was trying to help
People were
Oh.
calling me
I
and
wish-
telling me
I'm
things
a
that I
helper.
thought,
I'm
well,
a
maybe this is
giver.
what
What's wrong with
happened that I
y'all?
don't know. And so I would tell the police, believing that I was helping them investigate.
You didn't
They
tell them it was a
didn't tell
tip
anybody
from
that
somebody
these are
else?
reports, that I was giving them reports from other people. They would simply say, "Diane came in and said such and such." The one about the ski mask was
Oh.
dreams that I was having. And they kept saying, "Well, maybe you forgot
Oh.
something." So when I would have a dream and I would wake up, I would think, well, maybe that's what I would forget. And so the ski mask story, I didn't tell the police. I was talking to somebody on the phone, and I was I was sharing this
And she was
dream,
in
this
jail.
thought to somebody, trying to understand in the
Bless
same way that
it.
you would talk
She
to a
was in jail
psychologist
and
or
they
a
were listening.
so that you can, because if you
Oh,
talk,
you mean
maybe
when
can
you make
reach
how
something, maybe
they
you
have
can
that
find something
recording
that's
when
inside you that's
you
locked
call
up. And
from
so I
jail or
was
you
sharing
get a
this
call
with
from
somebody
jail
else,
about the phone call
and the
being
police were
recorded
tape
like
recording
that?
those phone calls. And then
Those
said, "Oh,
low
there she goes.
down
Here's
rat
the story."
The
And I
police
wasn't
were
supposed
tape
to know
recording
that.
these phone calls. You
Well,
were
I guess
in jail.
for me, because as you said, I am the newest person here.
You
and I'm
are
asking you new
those
questions, but
police
when
are
I'm
just
reading the
bad.
pre-sentence investigation, and it says subsequently defendant gave a total of 3 different versions of the shooting, including that it was done by 2 men wearing ski masks, and also that she knew the person shot them. Did you not give 3 different versions of the story?
No, I just told you.
The
No.
police said strangers don't shoot strangers for no reason. So I believe this had to be somebody who knew me. They also, at one point, the last day that I got to see Christy in the hospital, I believe it was June 15th of
Mhm.
83,
Mhm.
Doug Welch came to the hospital and said, "Steve Downs did this. We know Steve Downs did this. You need to give us, you
Oh,
need to
here
be
she goes with
testify
Steve
against
again.
him." I said,
Stop
"How do you
laying
know
on
Steve Downs, my ex-husband?
Uh
How do
huh.
you know Steve Downs
Poor
did this?
Steve.
Give me the
Poor
evidence." He
Steve.
said, "Don't
Give
worry
me
about
the
evidence.
evidence.
Just be willing to testify." I said, "If you can't prove to me he
Look
did
at
it, he's not
Diane
the one
Downs
that fired the
asking
gun."
for the
He
receipts
said
in
that he was behind it.
1983.
I said, "I cannot testify against somebody unless you can prove to me that he did this. I know he hates me, but why would he hurt the kids?" Doug Welch said, you better be willing to play ball or you'll never see your kids again. And I said, I cannot testify against somebody unless you can prove to me that he did it. The next day when I went to see my children, I was
Just
not allowed
like
to see my
George
children
Washington,
ever
cannot
again.
tell a lie. Okay.
That gave me the belief that the police were absolutely convinced that somebody I knew did this. And
Oh.
if the police believed it, then I believed it.
Oh.
Now, if they want to turn us all around and say Diane changed her story, that's not what happened. And you guys
Oh.
are on the parole board, and I know you work with the legal authorities. You work with police. You work with the district attorneys, and so you know how they work. It's how they. I know that's what they're trying to do. They were trying to.
What were they trying
scoop
to
me
do?
into a corner so that I don't know, so that I would say or do something that would incriminate me, which certainly worked. But that's not what happened. When you accept,
So,
Doug Welch came to
They just,
the McKenzie.
it's
no,
all,
to the,
you guys
the hospital
misunderstood the
in
things that I was saying.
Springfield. Oh, I can't even think. Mackenzie Willamette. No, anyway, to the Springfield Hospital. He
Anyway.
sat right there. He caught me when I was coming through the front door. He pulled me into the lobby. And these are the things he said to me. I went to see Christy for 15 minutes because that's all I was allowed. I left and he was standing there and he goes, I'm not playing, Diane. And I said, prove to me Steve did this. He says, let us worry about the proof. And I said, I can't testify against him unless you can prove to me he did this. And I left. The next day, I did not see my children ever again.
Why would you be
court.
testifying
And that was it.
against anybody?
And
They hadn't even arrested
so I
anybody yet,
believed.
you big
I
weirdo.
believed
That's
what
not
the
how
police-
it works.
I thought
Stop
the police
playing.
believed. Now, maybe
Oh.
they did believe that. Maybe to this day they still
then
believe
Lou
it.
has her
because
speed up.
Fred Huggie was another time he told my attorney Jim Jagger.
Yeah, at one
Jim
to
Jagger
125, but
Fred,
I promise
you
you
know
she's
Diane
still
is
speedy.
innocent.
Here,
He
I'll
said, I
I'll
know
turn
that,
her
you know
down.
that, but she's covering for somebody, and as long as she's going to cover for somebody, she's going to do that person's time. Jim Jagger said.
There you go.
Go ahead.
Now she's at normal
So
speed.
Jim,
Is it what you're saying today is that the prosecutor in your case
Uh-huh.
knew you were innocent, yet in order to get someone else to convict someone else for this,
He can't
to
even get the story
basically
out because it's so
threatened to
messed
keep your
up.
kids from you in order to get you to make incriminating testimony against somebody else?
No, that's not what I said.
Is that what you're saying?
I'm
No.
not
basically
saying
what I'm saying is I don't
I'm
want
not
to leave
saying
today.
that. I'm saying that Jim Jagger told
I'm
me
saying
Fred
that
Huggie
Jim
said this to
Jagger
him.
is caca.
I don't know that Fred Huggie said this.
I
I have
don't-
no reason to believe Fred Huggie said this now.
Oh, okay.
But that's what Jim Jagger told me Fred Huggie said. So from that point on, I believe
it's like a messed up game of police telephone.
from that point on,
Yes.
I believed that Fred Huggie believed that it was somebody that
I
knew.
believe that Fred
That's
Huggie
what I'm
believed
telling
that
you.
I
That is
believe
what
that
shaped my belief patterns. And
Steve
so when I would
believed
talk
that
to the
somebody
police,
I knew did
I
this.
spoke to the police as if it
As
was
if.
somebody that was
And then they
familiar to
twisted it
me.
around to convict me. So there
Not
you go.
because
Yeah.
I believed they were familiar to me, but because Fred
And now
Huggie told
now
Jim
you
Jagger
guys
and
are
Jim
looking at
Jagger-
me like I'm full blown
Jim
crazy.
Jagger told me that Fred Huggie told him that.
I love when she actually says
I
that.
have no reason to believe Fred Huggie would do that. I don't. Fred Huggie adopted my children, I think,
Uh-huh.
during the trial.
Uh-huh.
Can I go ahead and jump ahead with this?
No.
Sure.
Sure, why not? You're
Okay.
just, I mean, this
During
is
the
all bullshit
trial, At the
anyway.
very end of the trial, Fred Huggie, they brought in a mock-up of the car, and Fred Huggie got a gun, and he was reenacting the crime.
Uh-huh.
And when he was going through
You
the
could have
motion,
done a better job than him.
firing the gun at the
I didn't
Christy
like how
doll
I
and
was
at the Cheryl doll and at the Danny
portrayed.
doll,
Uh-huh.
he couldn't shoot the Danny doll because
Why?
the Danny doll was back here.
Oh.
And he raised up and he looked at me and I went like this.
She had an OJ moment.
Mm-hmm.
His face, he had a look of incredulation on his face, and his mouth started to open, and I nodded my head yes, and he had to switch the gun to the left hand. A right-handed person could not have shot the Danny doll. It was at that time, I don't think at any time before that did Fred Huggie believe that he was doing anything wrong. I think that he believed full bore that what he was doing was the right thing. But and I'm not
Well, from
inside
now
Fred
on, I'm
Huggie's
not
head.
going
I
to do
don't have the
anything
right to
unless I
speak
do.
for him,
I'm
and
going
I
to do
won't
it
speak
full
for him.
bore or not at all.
But it was after he adopted my children, and according to Christy, never said a bad word against me.
So apparently he
Oh.
just wanted to
That was
adopt
not
her
Christy's
children.
mouth.
This was
Fred
all a
Huggie,
ploy
in
to
all the
adopt
time
your
that he
children.
raised her, never spoke ill of me. I believe that Fred Huggie knows that there is a man out there
Oh,
that was
God.
hunting my children, and it wasn't until after
Because hunting her children.
schoolmates
Because the man that adopted them was a
that
good
I-
man, never
she-
spoke ill of her.
she drew
Right.
pictures in school, and she said, "This is the man who shot us."
Oh, no,
I
she didn't.
She did
lied
not
in
do that.
court
Those are lies.
because they wanted me to say this and they wouldn't
I
leave
lied
me
in-
alone. Dr. Peters, she said, Dr.
Oh.
Peterson kept pressuring me and he wouldn't leave me alone. Those children, the Andresens, told their mother told her, the apartment manager,
Uh-huh.
and the apartment manager told
So what you're saying,
somebody.
Miss Downs, is
Now, he didn't tell
you
my
don't wanna go home
attorney
today.
until 1991, but he
What I'm
apparently
hearing
told
from you
somebody
is
before
a
that.
lack of
But it was
accountability.
at that time when Christy was in that school and classmates with the Andresen twins
Uh-huh.
that Fred Hughey decided to adopt my children.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Oh my God. All right, hold on. Let me see what else they got, if there's more, because there's more to that. And we're done quick because we hold on.
She's too much.
She is too much.
Poor Steve.
Oops, wrong thing. I forgot to bring my mouse, so I'm having
I
to
was
do it.
listening to her daughters, like one of her daughters, the one that she had in prison. I was
Mhm.
listening to one of her interviews, and she was telling about how like she didn't talk to her anymore and stuff because she started creeping her out, and she kind of cut up contact.
Uh-huh.
And so Diane Downs, in like the psychological interview part of the next one, she starts talking about how that they want her to believe that that's her daughter, but it's not her daughter, and it's a big conspiracy theory. It's insane.
Yes, where's that one?
That's just, it's in either part 2 or part 3 of the parole hearing, but I don't know.
I feel like she said that in 2010 though, too.
It says it in the 3rd part of the other one, I know.
Because I remember like because I
That parole
remember
hearing they only needed 13 minutes to be like, okay, bye.
we're done with you for reals. I forget how you do this. Come on, scroll down. Oh, there we go. Oh, here it is. So here's the 7 minutes.
Am I going to need the security of living with my parents and knowing that there's somebody right there? Or am I going to want the freedom emotionally to have my own place that I can call my own without having to worry about 7 roommates right there and vying for the sink and the toilet and the shower and everything else? They don't know. They are trying to cover all bases so that they're letting me know that I have the option of choosing for myself, that I can live alone or I can live with them. Whatever makes me most comfortable. So yeah, we talked about that.
You've had conversations about your needs, but have you thought about their needs? 'Cause
No.
this case obviously has attracted some
Oh,
attention.
here's where she says the weird stuff
However,
about her.
Yes, yes.
With all the potential attention that you living with them might bring upon them.
We
have you
should
thought
ask her. I'm
about
going to
their
write
needs
her,
in this?
Kez Chick, and ask her about that damn yellow cup.
Yes. Every time I call home, I ask them, can we please move? I want them to move to another place. When I used to file legal work back before I finally got my answers, and you check and see when my legal work all stopped. It's when I finally got the answers and I was finally able to calm down and just be me again, about 2005.
Oh,
but back
boy.
in the day when my dad would
This
file,
is you, calm down.
I would write everything. My dad would type it. My mom would copy it, and she would do the filing for all of my legal work.
Oh.
Well, my dad, on the filing page, that's the certificate of mailing, you have to sign your name. My dad would always put his address. So everybody knows where my parents live. And so every time I would talk to my parents on the phone, not every time, at least once a month, when I talked to my parents on the phone, I would say, please, can we move someplace else? I would like to live someplace else where nobody can find you, because people are going to be coming by the house all the time, wanting to peek in the windows, wanting to, heaven knows what.
Heaven
and
knows.
I don't want us to have to deal with heaven knows what. My dad's 80.
Who
He
wants
had a
to deal
stroke
with
2
heaven
years
knows
ago.
what?
He's very
Christine, do
thin.
you
He's
want to
lost
deal
30
with heavens
pounds.
knows what?
He stumbles, he falls.
Oh,
My goodness gracious. When they were here in August, his whole arm was bruised. I was scared to death that my mom was going to be arrested for battery of an elder because, and
Oh
I
my
asked,
God.
oh
"What
my
happened to you?"
God.
My mom says he falls now.
Why would you?
Why would she say that?
Battery of an
I
elder.
do not want my parents to have to worry about when my mom has to go out and get groceries because she can't get my dad to get up to go in the car. It's easier for my dad to just stay at home. I don't want my mom to have to worry about when she has to go grocery shopping. Is somebody at the end of Quarter Mile Road going to be there?
Way to announce where
throwing
they live.
tomatoes at the car, or wanting a signature, or can you sign my book or whatever?
Autograph.
I
Yeah.
don't want and so I would ask them, please,
Please.
just move.
Just
And it
move
wasn't
for
until
me.
May of this year when it was finally time. They know that They know by ORS 144.228 that
Oh,
my,
look at
my
you.
parole date was May 9th. And so in April, my mom said, I've decided we're going to move and not tell the kids where we're going. I said, okay.
Okay.
But
Because she knows you ain't
so
getting
my
out.
parents finally said yes, that they will move. Unfortunately, for me to move, I have to tell you guys where I'm moving, and it's the same as telling the media where I'm moving, and telling the media is telling the wackos, because somehow the wackos always seem to know everything. And the only thing that I can ask,
I object to being
please,
called a wacko
if
just
you
because I know
do
how to use
parole
the
me and you
internet.
allow us to transfer to another state, someplace, please don't tell anybody
Please
where we
don't
are.
tell
I mean,
anybody.
You ain't going nowhere. I won't tell.
Don't worry. You don't have to worry about that.
In humanity, and it's a washing machine. It keeps turning over and turning over. We in California,
I'm pretty sure
we
her dad
parole
has
1,000
passed away, but her mom's still alive.
We
I mean, a
parole.
year, and they
Hold
come
on a
right
minute.
back. So
Just a
I'm not-
second. We parole. You don't parole anybody. You're asking for parole, you Nimrod.
concerned about my safety, but my parents are old. If you
You're
think
old.
that it's better for me to parole someplace and never see my parents,
Oh, my
see
parents.
my parents again, and that's the only way to keep them safe, then I would do that. But I don't want to not see my parents again. I love my parents.
Oh.
My dad needs me to take care of him. He's 80 and he falls. He's a big man. My mom's a little woman. She doesn't, when it finally comes time to start bathing him and taking care of him, my mom isn't going to be able to do that by herself.
We don't think you should
Sending
be
me someplace
responsible for the care of
would
others.
not be good for them.
Not
I could
limited
do it.
to, but including a
I
pet
could do
rock.
it. I've certainly dealt with, I've lost my children. When somebody takes your children from you, taking your parents is
You took them.
You took
What's
them.
next?
You shot them.
My
What is
parents
wrong with
really
you?
need me. And so if you're going to parole me someplace to hide me, like you did Janice, well, like the others did Janice Freeman, that's great. But hide my parents too, please. It was back in 85. I saw the eyebrow. It
You
was
know
back
what?
in 85. Janice Freeman.
What
when they
is she
paroled her,
swatting at?
They didn't tell the media where she was.
We got
So
you,
if you're going
Diane.
to do that for me,
We got you. Don't
We
worry.
got
do it for my
you.
parents. Don't do it for me. Do it for my parents.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they do not need the kookaloos. And I know.
You're
There
picking
you
up
go. There's some
Kookaloo for them.
insight.
Correct.
This is what insight has done, because I know what kookaloos. I live with kookaloos every day. I've become inured to it.
Kookaloos. That's
get-
going to be our new word,
don't ever get used to
Christine.
kookaloos.
Kookaloos.
But you learn how to survive them. My parents don't
I
know
live
how.
with a bunch of Kookaloos.
My
I'm surrounded by
my mom will
kookaloos
do the
day
same
in and
thing
day
that I
out. And so
did back in
kookaloos is all
83.
I
She'll
see.
get a phone call and she'll go out to meet somebody.
And it'll be a damn kookaloo.
Please don't parole me away from my parents. They need me.
Don't worry.
As you think
Don't
I'm a
worry, we're not
danger
gonna
to them
parole
simply
you at
because of
all.
the kookaloo
Request
factor.
granted.
Just because of the
Kookaloos can't
kookaloo
find me, they'll go to
factor.
my parents. They will. They will.
Ma'am,
They'll do
No, no,
whatever
no.
it takes because
Ma'am,
I know what they do
ma'am.
here.
Because
Ma'am.
when she kills her dad, she's gonna be like, "I told you."
I'm pleased to hear that you've been able to keep your relationship up with your parents. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, she's. I'm just getting some tissue.
Oh, she's a quick move. She's quick on her feet.
Yeah, she is.
Jeez. She's wily.
She is wily. She shouldn't be in charge of single solitary anything.
Okay.
Oh,
Let me
they
fix
say
myself.
You've been able to maintain parents. Any other
Thank you.
any other relationships that you've been able to maintain that you'd like to share with that might help you if you release in the community?
Well, you're
Are
gonna
you
have
involved in a romantic relationship at all? Any friendships or anything?
to wait till next week, Aussie Jen,
No,
when we get
none
into
that-
the
none that
psychological
take me there. None
report.
that I would need.
They found her to be insane, but she also found them to be insane.
Kookaloo's everywhere. It's all kookaloo's all the time. I can't get a break from these fucking kookaloo's. Let's
This
see.
idiot.
Make sure. Look at here. People also watched. Who dis?
Look at that. I like that.
You do?
Good job.
I thought of you when I did it. I was like, let me see if Christine will like this, but I wasn't gonna say nothing.
I did saw it earlier on the big TV. Looks nice
Thank you. I think that's it, you guys,
for this week.
for this week. We're done with Diane Downs. We've reached our cuckoo. Well, no, let me not say that, because that's not fair, since we're going to be streaming the Saeed trial. I don't think we're done with the Kookaloos. We're just done with this Kookaloo until next Sunday.
I think that now in 2022, I think her dad has passed away, but her mom is still alive.
Let's Google.
I think so, because her dad was getting older and needed care. I know they're afraid for them.
Listen, anybody that could potentially come into contact with Diane Downs, everybody should be afraid.
Imagine being
for that
an old
person
that relied on her for a bath, and that woman giving you a bath.
I mean, look what she did to her children.
I mean, God.
Her children relied on her to take care of them and give them a bath. So, do you think?
And then when something happened, she could say, "Told you, I told you so.
I told you it was these damn Kookaloos, but you wouldn't listen." Excuse me. He did. Oh, wow. September 30th, 2017. In Denison, Texas.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought her parents. So it's just her mom now. So I just feel like that's what they're waiting for. They let her out when that was not an issue anymore.
But where would she go?
They talk about how they go to, like, like halfway housing.
Yeah, but then what?
Other people would be in danger.
Exactly. She cannot be around human beings in an unstructured, armed environment.
Her dad left her an inheritance. She talks about it in the next part.
Oh.
So she has money saved and stuff to, like, live on.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Wonderful.
She'd be having all the snacks up in there.
She would be. Well, here's the thing. She's walking out of prison with some new skills, right? So she would know. She took carpentry. So because she would, right. Well, see, she's a felon, so she would be prohibited from owning a firearm. But fortunately, she's taken carpentry and electronics, so she can probably assemble a ghost gun.
I don't think that's a skill they teach on purpose.
Listen, well, once they teach you how to read directions and diagrams for that type of thing, you're set. It applies across the board. So plumbing, she could then dispose of the body and know if any parts got stuck in the plumbing. She wouldn't have to call a plumber. She can fix it herself. She's a ditch digger, which means that she would be efficient at burying anything and everything.
She says she wants to publish her books. She's written like 8 books.
She wants to publish. I thought she didn't want her story out. Huh? How? How things have changed.
They're fantastical stories. About trolls and goblins and stuff, she says.
Oh, that's right. That's right. They're children's books. I forgot.
Oh my God.
I forgot about that.
Restricted reading list. Diane Downs.
Yes. If Diane Downs' books were at Hogwarts, they would definitely be in the restricted section.
Yeah, no, Diane, it's a Marauders map, not a murders map. You got it wrong.
Mischief managed.
The poor editor of that book. Diane.
Hey, Downs, I know somebody who's an excellent graphic designer who could do your cover art. I'm going to write to her. Dear Diane. All right, you guys. Heather, here comes Heather Whatever. That's an excellent point, Heather Whatever. She could.
That's why I said she could work for Chad Daybell. He was a grave digger.
Yeah, she could build coffins and dig graves. Yep, perfect.
And then she'd be close enough to death where maybe she wouldn't fantasize about it all the time.
There you go. There you go. That's
That's
a-
forward thinking.
that is forward thinking. I'm proud of you, Christine. That's some real forward thinking there. Oh my God. We're probably going, yeah. I want, well, thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate you so much.
Yes, thanks for having me again on Sunday.
I will always have you on Sundays.
We'll see you on next Sunday.
All right, babe. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm
You're
looking forward to
welcome.
tomorrow trial and stuff.
Me too.
Yeah.
So
Get some
this
rest.
is, I will. This is how I'm going to do it tomorrow. So tomorrow, obviously, okay, court starts at 9 Central. So that's 10 Eastern. So I'm going to go live at 9:45 Eastern. That way everybody can be present and accounted for and when court starts, yada yada yada. And then I'll stream through lunch, and then I'll do the other half the after lunch Monday night, because I don't want to miss any of it. There's some trials where if you miss some of the testimony, it's not that big of a deal, but this ain't that. Because even just when I was just trying to find the mom's testimony, the sister, Aunt Connie's testimony, and then the boyfriend's testimonies, I stumbled on other stuff that I was like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this is a good one. A good,
yeah.
intriguing one.
Yeah. Oh, it's the Yasser Saeed trial. Chick Tracy, he's been accused and he's been charged with capital murder in the deaths of his two daughters, Amina, who was 18, and Sarah, who was 17, Saeed. And the press has dubbed it honor killings, but I don't know what his whole motivation was really, but anyway, he's pled not guilty, and it's a whole big deal. And if you want to see the least ineffective assistance of counsel ever in the history of least ineffective assistance of counsel, these are those lawyers. They object to everything. They are on it. They make excellent arguments. There's times when even I'm like, oh shit, they're right. It's a fascinating trial for a ton of reasons. But it's also very sad.
Yeah.
It's very sad. So I will see all of you cuckoos in la mañana tomorrow.
There you go. Bye, guys.
All right. Bye, you guys. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye.